You need to go ask around to find out what this team is.
Mm-hmm.
And this team has been a fun, special, kind of buck the trend all year long, whether it's Adames proven he's still got it, whether it's, some of the young guys coming into the lineup, whether it's the pitching staff that was supposed to be so down because Corbin Burns leaves and Brandon Woodruff gets hurt. And, we got Devin Williams down for a large portion of the year. And yet the pitching staff is exceptional this year. Once again, proven that they can work with whatever pieces they have because they have a pitching workshop. It's been one of those years that you look around and you say, if any team, Murphy's Law, as Wayne said, Armin, Murphy's Law.
Yeah,
if it can happen, it will happen. Why in the hell are the Brewers not Murphy's Law this year?
Well, I hope they're not Murphy's Law, but I know there are still a large section of Brewers fans that do have that fatalism inside them, that are going to be, like, here we go again. It's never going to happen for us. Something's bad's going to happen.
I asked this question, Billy, Armin, real quick during the broadcast, because I hear where you're going there. But why does Murphy's Law always have to be about negative things? Whatever can happen will happen. Why can't it also be positive things? Whatever can happen will happen. The Milwaukee Brewers can win the World Series this year. Yes. Why? Because they're in it. Whatever can happen will happen.
Matt Milwaukee already said, Billy, the Brewers are winning the World Series this year. Matt, that's what I'm talking about.
I like the energy. That's good. I like the positivity, and let's believe in it.
Let's go.
I'm all about believing in it. You're right, John. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So for that logic,
is this physics class?
I'm just saying that logic does work both ways. If something is going wrong for one team, it's going right for the other team, right? You just have to expect and believe that we're the team that'll go right for. I think that's hard for Brewers fans to believe when it hasn't happened like that. But you don't operate that way when you're a sports fan. You don't operate that when you're playing or watching or involved in it. If you operate that way, you wouldn't even be participating in the exercise of trying to win games anymore and trying to be a sports fan, because that means you've lost all hope and belief. And there's no reason for that, because there's always a chance, and this is our next chance, and you got to believe this one's going to be different. So that's how I'm going to walk in there, hoping and believing, all right, until the last out. I don't know, though, John, when you do get a lead like last year and then you lose that lead, that's how that happens. That's when the fans and that you can feel that anxiety wash over the crowd. We're like, oh boy, here we go again. But you have to fight that, because there's going to be ups and downs.
Different.
You have to fight that.
Different.
Yes, you have to believe that, John.
Different. No, the fan base might be the same, but this team's different. This team is not one of those ones that I don't feel like this team is one that, oh, there goes a shot to the right field and it's a home run. I don't feel like it's a team that's fatalistic the way that team was. You know why? Because most of those old guys that were fatalistic are gone. And even though Christian Yelich is still on the team, he's not going to be playing. No. He's not going to be in the game. So anybody that could potentially have that previous fatalistic feel of what the Brewers inevitably were from 2018 till now, they're not there.
No, and I do like, John, there's a couple of people that have already mentioned it on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line for the Diamondbacks. Well, if they wouldn't have blown an 8-0 or an 8-0 lead to the Brewers a week and a half ago on a Sunday, then they wouldn't have had to sit there and watch the game. Like, this team has shown multiple times to be different in that exact realm, that I don't expect any of these games to be easy. Like, I don't expect any of these games to just be a simple straight line team that gets up first, holds lead all game long, doesn't change. I think it's going to be a back and forth affair, and they're going to be a lot of fun. Josh in River Falls, optimism is high right now for the Brewers, and now the page refreshes because I got a big picture of our guy Tim with his massive Brewers.
Meat? Well, usually he sends meat. I see now he's got his big chain.
Tim and his meat.
Tim and his chain. I mean,
I see that.
Pulling the chain and your chain hang low. Does it wobble to the floor? Josh also said last year, if they got down, not nearly the amount of confidence as this team will right now. A brew leave is what our guy Tim did say in the midst there, as I did just see the massive sign and huge chain rolling through. There's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. It's already on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. There's Kari in Tosa. Carrie or Kari in Tosa? I think it's Carrie in Tosa, and now she's up on 9 to noon. Hi, Carrie.
Hi there. The difference we have this year, we have Murphy. And in Murphy, we believe. He has the team believing. He has fans believing. And it's not over till that final out.
Let's go. I love that. I love that attitude. That's what I'm talking about.
That ability to have the positivity still rolling through, even if they get down, with a bullpen like the one that they're going to possess going into this playoffs. it hasn't been an issue, but like I'm fascinated to see the Brewers are going to start Freddie Peralta today. Murphy talked about it yesterday. They have not really discussed, and John, the gamesmanship will continue. They're sending Devin Williams to the podium here today. Generally, your game podium and guys, I don't know. We're trying to win today, and I'll figure all of Wednesday out with maybe 2 fingers of bourbon after a Tuesday night win. And then I'll let you guys know maybe on Wednesday as to who's going to start. I love the gamesmanship. I love the style. And I love already the optimism and excitement is sky high on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Mark is an Eagle, and he's got the Brewers fever on 9 to noon. Mark, you're on.
Yes, I think they're going all the way. They just have luck, and they have a good manager. And you guys were talking about Murphy's Law.
Yes.
Bad,
yes.
But have you ever heard of Cole's Law?
No, I like physics class too. What is Cole's Law?
Cole's Law is you take cabbage and mayonnaise and you mix it in, and it's with a fish fry.
Oh,
there we go.
There
we go. Cole's Law.
That's a good
really
one.
what it would have been.
That's a
not
great
Cole's Law. Okay,
my
gotcha.
dad gave me that joke.
I like that one. I like that one.
That's a dad joke.
I love it.
Hey,
Thanks, Mark.
You got to have them.
Anything on October 1st, the first day of postseason baseball. I'm for it.
Cole's
We did
Law.
Murphy's Law. Give us coleslaw, but I
That's
mean it
great.
with Murphy's Law. Why does it? Oh, it's always
I
bad for
walked right into that
someone,
one.
but you don't know who it's bad for.
Well, that's
You don't
true.
know if
I like
right,
that.
You
John.
don't know if the Murphy's Law this year, Armin, is going to be the anti-Murphy's Law for the Brewers, meaning it's Murphy's Law for everybody else.
Usually I
agree.
hear Murphy's Law, and John, I'm thinking I'm at the casino and everything is going wrong. What you're saying is we could be the dealer in this situation.
Yeah,
We get to be the house. I like this.
Everything that
Yes.
could go wrong for the Mets could go wrong and go wrong at the worst time for the Mets. It could literally be, and this is why, and this is, if anybody actually knows Murphy Law, it's not just whatever can go wrong will go wrong. It's also whatever can go wrong will go wrong at the worst time. So even if the Brewers are down 3-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th and Sal Frelick walks up to the plate, don't sweat it. Don't trip.
Yeah.
Because it can go right. Just like it can go wrong for them.
And you just got to be prepared for it. That's how I train young radio producers. No, John, I that's why I never like when people say, "Oh, it can't. This and that can't happen." They just don't believe.
Can
You
I
gotta
just
believe.
get a quick question in?
Mhm.
What do you mean by that's why you train radio?
That's how I train radio producers to expect the worst in the worst possible situation and be prepared for it. You know, so whatever you think might happen, it's going to happen at the worst time. So just be prepared for it and then be ready to fix it
Who's
when it
the
happens.
last person you've trained?
I don't know. The last guy I trained.
Probably
I mean,
me.
Yeah, I don't know, Hunter. I don't know who's. I don't know. I have no.
You
I
trained Hunter?
well, not really trained,
No.
but like like he watched or sat. Oh, maybe Andrew.
This
I
is
trained
the
Andrew.
training.
trained-
Hey,
you
watch
Nick.
I thought Josh trained Andrew.
Well, we all
Josh
we,
trained Andrew.
We all train each other is my kind of point, but he sat with me
You
as well.
trained each
Nick
other.
Nick sat with me as well, Bruiser.
Pause.
So
Yeah, no, really what it is why don't you watch Armin run that board and then, get on there and see how it goes. See, get on there and just, you got to do it.
I try and
You gotta
help
do it
out
once or
when
twice.
I can.
Get on
yeah.
out there.
You got to do it once or twice. 414-799-1973. NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Where's the optimism at Brewers fans? Nick and Grafton get into the World Series or bust. That's my confidence. That's what I'm talking about. Billy and Mequon putting it on you. Milwaukee better show up. If anyone even thinks about booing our home team, still haven't forgotten that last year. In this series, you stay home. Let's go, crew. Billy and Mequon is keeping the energy high, and he's going to be policing the fans in there. Armin Sarian's going to be policing everybody as well when he gets to American Family Field tonight. Don't take a picture with him during game action. During innings, there will be a line forming outside. What section are you sitting in? Just want to make sure people know what
honestly,
aisle to be able to take
Honestly, I
pictures.
have no
with him in.
idea yet. I think it's field level somewhere.
Oh,
I don't
No,
know.
I
Look
was
at you.
I
Okay,
was
now
I
we're
was going to
talking.
come
Okay.
to this game and I was going to sit with Armin, but when he said no pictures available, I
Oh,
didn't know
man.
deal with that up front.
Yeah, that's.
I'm with you, John. I can't handle it.
Too many pictures. No.
I'm gonna miss you today, John. I need that energy, but hey, that's okay. I'll provide it.
You,
I'll provide
you
it.
keep the energy, you keep the optimism, and we'll keep rolling here on the NicoletLaw.com talking text. And we're going to talk about that rolling wagon last night in Detroit. Motor City Muscle was what the tagline was for the Detroit Lions, and they flexed them last night. But a lot of baseball talk. Paul Wagner's here at 10. It's a lead up and really a pregame show to the even bigger pregame show that starts at 2, Dugout 54 with Drew and KB. They'll take you right over to the game. They'll walk right over with you to American Family Field for Game 1, Brewers and Mets. It's all the conversation at 414-799-1973. It's John Kuhn right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's with us as well. You'll hear from Pat Murphy, Freddie Peralta, Willie Adames, Reese Hoskins, and all of you Brewers fans getting ready for playoff baseball. October is here, and we're ready. 9 to noon on the
Well, we don't have to. But,
Sure.
But it's the same. You know, like this may sound really naive, but why wouldn't you want to win every game? Why wouldn't you go after that? You know, there's no certain level of intensity that's incorrect, you know, except when you don't respond well. So if you learn the balance of the punch and then the counter punch, if you learn the balance of that, then you won't get too intense, or you won't put all your eggs in one bag and leave yourself exposed. But just every day come out and ready to go. Be in fight mode every day, and then worry about it the next day.
Pat Murphy yesterday before his team gets in ultimate fight mode. Postseason play begins today. 4:32 first pitch as Freddie Peralta sends it against the New York Metropolitans. We will get the Brewers playoff roster, or by playoff roster, we'll get the NL wildcard round roster here in about a half hour from right now. I believe 10 a.m.
See
is when it becomes official.
We'll see if old Salvatore's on that roster. That's been a big topic of discussion.
Sal's a part of the conversation. We got a lot of people already asking us if we'll see Brian Hudson on that roster. I kind of thought you would see Brian Hudson. I also thought you would see Brian Hudson before they had to make this final decision. So maybe it will. We will get all those answers to you. I do believe it will be 13-13. Last year, one of the reasons why they went with more position players was because John, as Mike Heller had continued to, pound into submission into your brain, and a lot of people had, because while we've seen a lot of teams win it, starting pitching is going to win. It's going to be your starting pitching. Your starting pitching is why you are going to win in the playoffs. And instead, they went with 11 pitchers because they banked on their starting pitching. And this year is going to be a much different story. Their starting pitching has been good, but it has been the back end of their bullpen and the middle portion as well, being able to eat up innings 5, 6, and 7 potentially, to be the reason why they're sitting here with 93 wins and one of the strengths of their club.
Armin, when you head down there tonight, what's going to be the number one thing you look for at the start of this baseball game?
You mean from the players, the fans, or just kind of
number one thing?
Number one thing.
Yeah.
First thing.
Is there like some sort of, because I'm excited for you, man.
Thank you.
I could see you're already nervous.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning.
He's twitching a little bit over here.
First thing he said to me when I called him, Billy, at 7:59 was, "All right, playoff time. Playoff time."
Yeah, that's right, man.
I'm like, yeah. Isn't it weird though, Billy? I said this to him. Isn't it weird how playoff baseball just kind of, it's just here,
pops up?
Yeah,
you got regular season baseball and yesterday games that matter, and then all. Oh, by the way, we're starting the playoffs now.
Right.
So there is no like ramp up for this. This is like here. You go straight from regular season.
Boom, it just happens.
And the Brewers, the last couple of days of the season, didn't really have it going into that series. So it they didn't have the tiebreaker with the Phillies. So it was like whatever. And now boom, it's here.
We're playing.
Boom, there's no ramp up period. It's here. Let's go. You better have your best stuff tonight. I think that plays a part. In why not? Which, by the way, if you're wondering what the opposite of Murphy's Law is,
oh, here we go.
Yipram's Law, which is Murphy spelled backwards, is basically saying whatever can go right will go right.
Is that a thing? Is that a real thing?
I think
no. Now it is.
Well, it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that is real.
So it's as real as Kevin Boyle inducting me into the Shippensburg Hall of Fame.
Yeah, which is
that one.
Best friend and third string safety and roommate. Was that somebody's joke? I don't know
the
what.
The only thing real about that was the third string safety. But when you talk about this team, though,
at least you hope you're friends. At least.
Why not a young team?
Why not?
That has not really had this playoff experience going in there and just having success immediately? Just like it's like for them, it does just feel like another game, right? When a team like the Dodgers, it could be like, hey man, we haven't really done anything since COVID. We should probably do something.
This would be the time to win in the playoffs. Yeah.
But there are still players from this team from the years past when the Brewers haven't advanced in the playoffs. So it's not a totally new experience for the whole team.
For the majority of it, though, I mean, like you're looking at a team that 13 of the 16 guys had not made an opening day going on to the opening day roster this year. Yeah. So absolutely you have Freddie Peralta, who's played in playoff games, and Rhys Hoskins, who has had big playoff home runs. And he talked about it as well as like, you get ready for this moment, John. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. If you fail in a big moment, All right. Now you know the next one, if you prepare yourself to get ready for it, it's going to come quicker than if you sit back, sulk on the failure, then you won't be prepared for the next one. Like, that's the part of the mix of veteran players with young guys that I'm most excited for with Pat Murphy. Now, we've had a couple of callers already say managing can be the difference. We will see. I think hitting big home runs is generally the biggest difference in the playoffs. Like, you see teams that hit home runs in playoff baseball win playoff baseball games. But I'd love that to be a Pat Murphy thing. I'd love that to be why this Brewers team wins, is because their manager is different. I'm just fascinated to see how different it can be, how different it feels once push comes to shove, the bullets start flying and you're down 3-2 in the sixth. Like, I think there's a lot of great vibes right now. Now we need to be able to preserve and keep those in the middle innings, and then into 8th or 9th inning once Willy Adames hits a big 3-run homer to put you up 6-4.
Which is what you want. And I think we have to accept the reality that there's a randomness to this. I mean, this is baseball playoffs. This is a small sample size of a sport where anything can really happen in these short samples.
You hear luck, and a lot of times that's a derogatory word in terms of success, John. Show me a team that is successful in a playoff, whatever the sport, that doesn't get a couple of lucky bounces.
Yeah, I don't like calling it luck either. I like calling it fortune, because generally people see fortune as things that you have created for yourself, created opportunities for that fortune. And that is true. That is true. When you do talk about, I mean, you look back at baseball past and balls that roll between guys' legs or get snatched out of the stands by a fan. I mean, that is fortune. That could be bad luck, or that could be good fortune, depending on the team that you're looking at this for. And then you also have balls that go off the bottom of a bat and get called a hit by pitch in an 8th inning.
There you go.
A tight game.
Yep.
I mean, there are all kinds of things that you can point out here as reasons to believe, or reasons to, think that the worst could happen here. At the end of the day, man, this team with Pat Murphy at the helm for the first time, it just feels different. It has a different feel, and I have no reason to believe this team is going to go in here after years of making playoffs in the past and coming up short and be similar to any of those teams, because it never felt similar as this season began, continued, and finished.
I like that statement, because that part of it, they don't necessarily have to know the why or how, but the feel is different. Matt Lacrosse, this is our year, gentlemen. This team is different. In years past, if we fell behind 2 runs, it felt like it was an impossible task to make a comeback. We relied on pitching only to keep us in games. This team truly feels like it can strike at any point in the game. It almost feels like we're expecting to score every time we get 2 outs now. Plus, we're doing it differently, not just relying on the home runs. We got young, fast guys that are aggressive on the base paths. Can't wait. Let's get this thing going. Red Hot Tim Knott had an answer, John, to your question for Armin. What's the first thing that you're looking for once you get in here today? Armin, my security guards, to keep those fans and paparazzi away from me.
You've been thinking about it now. You've had a couple minutes.
I'm looking for escape routes. I'm looking for escape routes, so I don't have to get inside and have people hounding me. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just kidding.
What is the
first thing I probably look for? Well,
and it better be a Long Island, because that's what you got.
Well, you got to look for.
Every time we go, we get that Long Island. Every time we get that Long Island, they win.
That is true.
Absolute first thing you do is feel the energy of the usher. Actually, am I getting a high
say
five?
What's up to my boy Jack at the Long Island bar and get yourself that Long Island.
I would love
to
get that.
What are you feeling the usher for?
I'm not feeling him literally. I'm going to feel his energy. Am I getting a high five from you or not? Okay, when I started going in there and start clapping, are people getting fired up or not?
Wasn't Usher?
Then you walk in the bowl.
Wasn't Usher at the freakouts? You feeling Usher?
You can't prove that.
Part of the freakouts?
No one's proven he's been at those parties.
I thought he had the baby oil though.
Oh, no one's proven that.
You better get your last couple Usher songs.
I know. I thought about that.
Before he gets canceled.
Such an Usher.
For anybody out there that's wondering, Armin's list of songs on the P Drive has taken a massive hit.
I got it bad.
Shrinking.
R. Kelly, P. Diddy, and some, Ray J. But between some of these guys, he has no chance of, really, his P Drive is half the size it used to be.
I could still play Ray J. Yeah, but you're right. I want to make sure I get all my Usher songs in. Confessions. Gotta get all those songs in. No, I look, okay, when I walk in the bowl, I also look to see how many people are in their seats. is this a full house right away?
Oh, okay.
Like, I know
Because
the
you're
seat-
going to be in there right away. You're not messing around in the parking lot. You're not walking around taking pictures.
If I can
eating
help
brats
it.
here, having a sausage here, drinking a beer over here,
Yeah, if I can
catching
help
your
it,
breath like I just did on the radio there, doing all that nonsense.
I'll be in section 119 as long as everyone's there in time and everyone's, I'll be there. But I look to see
Section 119.
I
we
look
got
to
the
see if
answer. We got the
everyone's
answer.
in the crowd. I want to see what the energy is like. Are people into this game? Are they filtering in slowly? Are people hanging out, getting their drinks and their bratwurst and all that stuff?
This one from Mark in Tennessee, driving to the game today and wondering if I could park at AmFam and then walk over to Dugout 57 for a pregame show.
54,
No, Mark.
54.
You're going to Dugout 54 and get there early.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
first, I think, 100 people KB is going to buy a beer for, right? That's what he said, right? That's the pregame show. Drew and KB
That's
are
awesome.
the pregame show today,
They do have the pregame show and
2 to
show,
4:30.
and I have not gotten. Hey, listen,
Really interesting time for them.
they might
It's
buy it
very
for you.
interesting time for the 3 to 6 show at 2 to 4:30. Yeah, but even better, you can park your car there, and then they'll take you to AmFam. Right? I
Oh,
mean, you
yeah.
go
Oh,
Dugout
that-
54.
yeah.
Sorry, Dugout. Not Drew and KB.
That's what I thought.
Dugout 54
Dugout
will
54
shuttle you
will
to
do-
AmFam. Yes.
Oh man, yeah.
And,
That's
Drew,
what I thought you meant.
and KB is not buying beer for anybody. That was
He's not even buying beer for
that was
himself. No
complete
doubt.
sarcasm.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice today, though, and I thought
That
it was
would've been
fit.
so
I
good,
thought
though.
it was fitting, and you'll feel it.
Hey,
as-
Kuhn said you were buying beers. Is that cool?
Yeah, I can't wait. People go in there and do that. Somebody will say that. No, but and you talk about the walk from Dugout 54 to the American Family Field, and we've done that.
You can make the walk or you
Well,
can take the shuttle.
when it's really hot, you can take the shuttle or you can make the walk if you want that feel going to the stadium. But I walk outside and boom, right in the face. There's that fall weather, right in the face.
Boom, right in his
it
face.
feels like fall. It feels
You
like
walk
playoffs.
outside and boom,
This
Right
was
in my face.
right in my face.
No, you know what I'm saying? It was that. It was that first.
And by the
thing.
way, if you don't have tickets,
Just all
Dugout
the time.
54,
Oh,
Dugout
Armin.
54 is going to be an electric factory.
It's gonna be
Electric.
awesome. Yep.
Okay, so the pregame show with Drew and KB, they have a pregame show for today's wild card round, 2 to 4.
2 to 4:30. Yep.
Then you have Red Hot and Pipe Bomb
Let's go.
during the game call
Come on now. Yep.
from 4:30 to 6. That, my friends, that is electric.
If you
Oh,
don't,
and then if that, hold on, because
ahead,
you haven't
Billy,
had
go
enough
ahead.
fun, John, until 6 o'clock with the Red Hot Pipe special.
not so fast, my friend. There's more.
Red Hot Pipe special.
Just wait, there's more. Oh yeah, it's a real Red Hot Pipe special. Tim Allen and Pipe Bomb at the Potawatomi
Oh.
Sportsbook tonight, post game.
How's
So-
Pipe Bomb going to do both? How's he going to get from Dugout 54 with that traffic
People
down
are
there
asking.
to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook?
Good
Yeah,
question.
people are asking, especially people that I don't know, inquisitive minds of certain elected, wanted to be elected officials that are going to be in the state potentially today. Roads are going to be fun. So Pipe is going to have himself a potentially difficult time going from Dugout 54 to Potawatomi Sportsbook, but we're not worried about that.
Yeah, so here's the problem I have is I'm trying to get from Dugout 54 to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook.
boss.
However, every road is closed down right now. So I don't know. Should I walk? I have a bad foot. I can't.
You
make
know,
it that
they're telling
far.
me this road's closed, but I tried pulling around and the other 4 closed too. So we're gonna have to figure something out.
Get a motorcade.
It's gonna be
for him.
awesome.
We should get a motorcade for him.
They're gonna be out. We could get a motorcade.
I just hope that they have enough.
Police aren't busy enough.
I just hope they have enough pure leaf iced tea down at Potawatomi for my man Pipe Bomb to hydrate during the show. Well,
Gotta
I
have
know,
some Pure Leaf
I
iced
know,
tea.
I know.
I
I
did
did
also-
when I see those jugs of iced tea. in the
Well, more
fridge.
than anything, I warned him and Tim. Potawatomi Sportsbook, elite location.
Oh yeah.
It is in the non-smoking portion of Potawatomi.
Oh yeah, dude. Pipe's
So
gonna
like,
have to walk
I
all the
had
way.
to tell those boys, hey, we got a really good thing going, Potawatomi Sportsbook. That is the non-smoking section of Potawatomi. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
make
Wow.
sure that we can
Those
still
two
get you guys
for
over.
our
there.
2 chimneys. Our
Yes.
2 chimneys are going
Yes.
to the non-smoking section.
You gotta go to the
What
Solstice
could
Lounge.
go wrong?
They should just do the show from the Solstice Lounge instead.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe. No, and what I meant earlier was the fall brisk wind was in the air this morning. I knew it was playoff time. All right, so
That's what hit.
None of your
That's what
weird
hit you in
stuff.
the face.
all you
Okay,
weird
got
guys
it.
with
Got
your
it.
weird
That's
stuff.
what
Yeah.
hit you in the face.
So that was the feel of playoffs. So the first thing I look for, I want the energy of the usher and the high five. I get the Long Island John as well. Then you look to see who's in the bowl. Are the fans there, seated and ready to go? Okay, is this filled up, or are we going to be matriculating in by the 3rd inning type of
I might have to
situation?
come down just to get a lucky Long Island.
I think that's it. And then
to force him to have a Long
I will-
Island and
I
actually
will
have a
have a drink.
drink.
I will
Just
drink
to get
today.
a lucky Long Island just to get the win. You got to get the win.
Well,
Win
that's of
game one.
course. I will have a drink today.
It
Don't
does
worry.
talk about how willing are you to go above and beyond to get your favorite baseball team a win. Sean from Sullytown, you all started the season by calling it the 2024 championship season.
Well, Timmy always does that.
I listen every day. Every day we've gone through the year watching 162 go by. Yes, I'm as jacked as Armin. I was at the 82 series. I will find tickets to be at the 24 series at AmFam. Go Crew. All right, let's go. Sean, he also said, P.S. don't talk to me either about anything but the game during the game. So Sean might be the one that you want to be sitting next to from Sullytown. I like that situation.
Yeah, I love that.
414-799-1973. All the conversation on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. B in Burlington. Yeah, John, I agree. This team is totally different. No deficit is too big. They showed that all year. Go Crew. So jacked for today. We're jacked up. We're talking more Brewers in 20 minutes when Paul Wagner joins the conversation. Get you ready for Brewers and Mets at 4:30 today. On the other side, let's talk a little bit of Monday Night Football from a night ago, because one of those teams in the NFC North appears to be an absolute wagon that was rolling last night in the Motor City. It's 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. Hey guys, Billy Schmid. One of my favorite things to do during football season, not just watching football, investing on football. It's the greatest time of year as football season is back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got into the game last year by making picks on the Underdog Fantasy app. You should join in because you can win up to 1,000 times your money by simply choosing higher or lower on your favorite football player stats this year, like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, rushing and receiving yards, higher or lower on those stats. It's that simple. Making picks on Underdog is really straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's super easy mobile app, download it, or go to UnderdogFantasy.com if you'd prefer to go on your computer. Sign up with promo code Billy, BILLY, and sign up with Underdog, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Billy. Claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. John Coons right there, two-time Super Bowl champion. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian is with us in the iHeart Megaplex studios. He's getting ready to watch a Brewers win tonight in game 1 of the Wild Card Series. I am so glad, guys, we're not first take. Right now, if we were, John, we'd have to be discussing the question that they were bantering about, is Deion Sanders the coach of the year in college football? Listen, I'm so glad that that's not the conversation that we have to have. But is Jared Goff the MVP of the NFL? I mean, holy cow. If we might not be first take, but we can get a first take like question. My man goes 18 for 18 last night, and that looked like an absolute Monday night wagon in the Motor City with the Detroit Lions against the Seattle Seahawks last night.
Even better. How about going 18 for 18, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you don't have a perfect quarterback rating? That is something.
That is the dumbest stat of all time.
But you want to hear
crazy.
something even better. How about this? That's even better. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1 for 1, 7 yards. That 7-yard, they call it Philly special, wasn't Philly special. Touchdown pass back to Jared Goff has a 135 passer rating. So 155 and 135. How about when you add them together, you get 158.3, which is a perfect pass rating. Tell me how that is possible. Jared Goff,
the stupidest stat of all time.
Jared Goff is 18 for 18 and not a perfect passer rating. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1 for 1 and a touchdown and not a perfect passer rating. But when you add them together, their team is 19 for 19, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a perfect passer rating. I don't understand
I don't
that.
get that stat.
Armin, that's even more proof that analytics are for the birds.
You can't say that because not every stat is created equal. I mean, some are better than others. So, I mean, is that all because of analytics? I don't think that's a great stat. I never liked it that much. I think it's not a good, I don't know. It's not normalized, right?
How can
Doesn't make any sense.
It's not
how can
normalized.
2 ratings that are not perfect add up to be perfect?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I would never say I love that stat very
Or how
much.
can their average, when you add them together, otherwise would lower and then it higher the number?
Or why was Goff's not I mean, Goff didn't miss a pass last night. So there's obviously flaws in that stat. I got to say, though, that pass by Amon-Ra was feathery soft.
It was a gorgeous ball.
Right in the bread
I
basket.
think Jared Goff is a little bit frustrated in himself for throwing that thing into the stands. I mean, you're only going to catch 1 to 2 touchdowns in your entire career, right?
Yeah.
Now he's jacked up. He was fired up. The word on the street is they've been practicing that play since all the way back in training camp. So,
Well, you'd have to.
and there's been some moments where that play looked like it was going to get thrown out. They did not throw it out. They kept it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's good work. Good job on Ben Johnson for keeping that
Did
one
you
in
see
the
the
book.
Jake Bobo 4,000? Plus 4,000, nearly make it yesterday. 1 yard line, tackled on the 1 yard line.
1 yard line. He was so
That
close.
was a tough beat on our Jake Bobo long shot yesterday.
Yeah, it was so close. I mean, that was like your little side bet there. That would have been a really good one.
That was if you want to make a come up, this is what you bet. Unfortunately,
If you had a
on your
bad
chart.
week, here you go.
On
We
your
can
chart.
help you out.
Mhm.
That was a heck of a game, though, man. DK Metcalf is an absolute freak of a human being, though. Like, and as I continue to watch that, more credit to Geno Smith and the Seahawks. That's a better football team than I gave him credit for in the middle of the year in the beginning of the year.
The second half last night, they really fought. They really did.
They kept battling, dude. And Geno was not too pleased on Tyler Lockett, the offensive pass interference. You're not going to get that call generally on the road, but a fascinating game, which saved us from potentially the worst football game any of us have ever watched in that first game with the Titans and Dolphins. I will admit, thank you, Monday Night Football, for the back-to-back weeks. Second game of the doubleheader that I don't like, doubling up on action in the main window. Thank God we had it because it saved us from another game that would usually get buried in the noon hour red zone channel.
I was getting ready to get upset, and I couldn't because that game, Titans and Dolphins.
It's almost like they just know what games people don't want to watch, but they're giving out token Monday night games to these teams and throwing it in there like, hey, Tennessee and the Dolphins, one of their quarterbacks going to get hurt by the end of the year. The other one's just going to stink to begin with. So let's throw them on Monday Night Football. We'll give them their token Monday night game. Make sure we double it up with a Seahawks-Lions game, though, because that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, double it up with a normal Monday Night Football game, and everyone will still be okay. Fascinating night for the Detroit Lions as they are back within a game of those Minnesota Vikings. And I'm very, very excited to see how that plays itself out in the NFC North. And we'll have a front row seat for it with your 2-2 Green Bay Packers just sitting right behind those two in the driver's seat of the NFC North. We'll flip it back to the Diamond. Paul Wagner talks some crew with us, get us ready for playoff baseball. What will these players be thinking about in the moment tonight? What are they thinking about right now? Waiting for their first playoff game. For many of them, their first time in this moment. Paul Wagner will give us those clues and that piece of insight. On the other side, our former pitcher leads off hour number 2, 9 to noon on the Game. 9 to noon, hour 2, we hit up the NicoletLaw.com talking text line and go to our former MLB pitcher as it's playoff time. October is here and the Brewers are back in the postseason. Nothing to take for granted, nothing to sneeze at, and it is an exciting day in the state of Wisconsin City, Milwaukee. Paul Wagner joining us now here on 9 to noon to talk about it. Wags, it's something that, we can marvel at. Those of us who have been in the state for our entire lives and a long time, playoff Brewers baseball is something that you don't necessarily still get used to. However, for a certain generation, it's all they've ever known, because here they are back in the playoffs once again as a division champion. And it all starts here today. And as sadly as this sounds, it can all be over in 3 days. That's how incredibly quick this ends up coming on you.
Exactly right. But we've been so spoiled here. You know what? We haven't experienced necessarily losing seasons, or at least multiples, or back to back in such a long time. So we are a little spoiled. It's nice. It's funny how October 1st comes. The temperature drops about 20. We're talking about Packers, Badgers. It's football season, and now it's Brewer postseason. So now we just roll into Miller Park or AmFam Field. And now it's game one against the New York Mets, who, you know what, we've taken 5 out of 6 this year. And it is a daunting, it's a task. It is a task, regardless of how many games they played yesterday, how many games we didn't play yesterday, and how many times we've beat them this year already.
Wags, I'm fascinated by this. You played 162 games over the course of, spring and summer. And then I think they played 20 out of the last 21 days. It's something ridiculous like that. You get 1 day off and it's playoff baseball, and we know the stakes have risen. Do the players feel it the way the fans feel it?
100%. They know it. Don't tell me what somebody did in game 100 or what they did in game 120. It's right now. This is what it's all about. This is what you play 162 games, like you said, in 186 days. Man, that's a rough schedule. That's a hell of a long marathon. 186 days, 162 days, and your days off are basically just travel days. So this is what you prepare for. This is where you come. This is where we're going to see Freddie Peralta go. This is where Freddie Peralta is going to go more than 5 innings. If he has it, I believe he's only pitched more than 5 innings, maybe twice this year. This is where it is. And I know this goes against Armin, because Armin doesn't believe pitching and defense wins in the postseason. I still believe it does. And Freddie Peralta is going to be a different pitcher.
I hope so, Wags. And you say a different pitcher, and I think there's a certain level of Freddie Peralta's performance that many people have always just waited for the next step. What he's been and what he is, pretty damn good major league pitcher, right? Like I understand that everyone's thought that he was going to be the top of the line number one dude. He's your number one, maybe more of like a Giovanni Gallardo number one, not a true ace around baseball, but there's a lot worse number one options teams could have, right? Like I've always wondered that, where you wait for the next stage of development. What he is kind of a strikeout guy who in this situation could be susceptible to that first inning. You want to get out of that first 3 outs with Freddie, right?
Exactly. Freddie is who we thought he was. When the Brewers signed him to that deal, nobody thought he was more. Yeah, he was behind Burns and Woodruff, but we knew, or they kind of knew, Brewer management knew what he was capable of doing. He's a high strikeout pitcher. He's a low pitch or high pitch efficiency. He doesn't. Remember when we had Giovanni Gallardo? Gallardo would go out there and try to strike out everybody, but he'd strike out 9 and he'd walk 8, and he'd go 5 innings and he'd throw 170 pitches. Freddie is who he is. Freddie is a good. Is he a number one? Oh, I wouldn't say he's a number one. He's our number one right now, and I've loved him. I've loved him ever since he's been here. Freddie Peralta can give you a quality start right now, and Freddie Peralta can take you to the finish line.
What's his key to success today? I tend to feel like Wags, that when he can get that put away pitch and he has those moments where it's really working for him and he can run that strikeout number up, and obviously that's a huge advantage come playoff time to reduce traffic on the base paths. What is it about his stuff that it's going to get him to get that strikeout pitch and be able to put batters away?
And that's where Freddie has to be. He's got to be efficient. The Mets strike out less than the Milwaukee Brewers, and they walk less than us. So they're going to put the ball in play. Freddie's got to control the zone. He doesn't have to pitch so much. Use the defense behind him. Use that.
Mm-hmm.
Make them be aggressive with the bat, because if you fall behind 2-0, then they can sit on it. But they're not going to strike out. They want to put the ball in play. Like they say, you know what? You win postseason with a big home run. Low-scoring games and big hits and timely matters and timely situations. And that's what Freddie has to do. Freddie has to get ahead of them. Let them not to feel so comfortable. But if he can keep his pitch count down, go to maybe 5 innings, give us 15 outs. He gives this team 15 outs. The next 4 innings, this bullpen is dominating.
Wags, we feel like this team is different because they bring a different vibe, right? A lot of players making names for themselves throughout the course of a season. And now that we're here, we say, well, we just got to continue doing what we did this entire season, and we just fine in the playoffs. Is that true, or does the long ball need to be a part of the Brewers game here now that the playoffs are here?
I would love to see the long ball play. We don't hit as many home runs as the Mets. I understand that. But you know what? We steal bases. We move. We take the extra base. I don't want them to change the philosophy that they did throughout the season, because that's not this Milwaukee Brewer team, especially when you got Christian Yelich out of the lineup. This team has to steal bases. They have to take that extra base. If an outfielder bobbles the ball, they have to take advantage of that. They have to run every ground ball out. They have to hope for something. They just have to play hard-nosed baseball, and we've always put Pat Murphy with hard-nosed baseball, college-type baseball. Play the college game, as weird as that sounds. Play every at-bat and every hit and every defensive play as it's the last. And that's how the Milwaukee Brewers, for some odd reason, were able to do that for 162 games. And that's what they have to continue to do as they run through November.
All right, Wags, I'm going through the history book here on Baseball Reference, and just in your time. So you were a September call-up, correct me if I'm wrong, in 92 with the Pirates. So when you're leading up there, what is that like for guys of like Isaac Collins, right? The guys that are going to be on the club, around the club, but now once you get to the playoff time, might not be in the game, but feeling the energy around a team that knew it was going to the postseason, but trying to build itself to be sprinting at this point. What's that last month like? Because for the Brewers, it's been the last month or so. They knew at some point they would go to the playoffs. They knew at some point they would be able to celebrate as division champions, but getting themselves ready for right now. What's that buildup like as somebody that got to see it?
I look at this Brewer team right now. The 6 out of those 6 starters, let's just say 6 or possibly 7 starters, they have 1 or 2 years under their belt. The Brewers have been in the playoffs for multiple years before that. The same situation. Those guys were up there. You absorb so much. You learn by observation as well. Yeah, you can't ever say, the physical, the on the field experience isn't worth it. It is. You actually have to pitch in those games. You actually have to hit in those games, and you have to defend in those games. But I tell you what, if there's a jump start to it and you can be a part of it and you can see how winners react, how they prepare for the game, how they prepare for every little thing, these young players absorb that. And that's exactly what this Milwaukee Brewer team did 3-4 years ago, 2-3-4 years ago, when they were the young guys and the Brewers were continually making the playoffs.
Wags, is it appropriate to feel like the Brewers have an advantage based off the Mets having to play 18 innings yesterday before jumping on a plane? And after they jumped on that plane, they got to play 24 hours later here in Milwaukee.
On the surface, you would say absolutely. Absolutely. Draining, everything. Yeah. They won that first game. I would say on the surface, yes, but you know what? You come back, you fall asleep, and you play. It's not like you play it once a week. They're used to playing. Yeah, it was a strenuous 18 innings, and it meant a lot. But the New York Mets are going to come prepared. You think Lindor moving to that leadoff spot? Look at where it did for that game 1. Pete Alonso, these guys are ready to play. And I know it sounds like you just played so much yesterday. You flew back to Milwaukee. Man, I don't sleep on that. Don't think they're not going to be ready. I'm going to say, yeah, we have an advantage but they won't tell you. The New York Mets will not tell you that the Brewers have an advantage. They're going to say, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, Wags, I tend to think because they won game one, because they won the first game, not really an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they have Severino ready for game one, who kind of is their guy that they look at as their ace, but not really an ace. You know what I mean? And we talk about.
You would have thought he
Peralta.
was Tim Lincecum in his prime, the way people are fearing facing Luis Severino.
And that's, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, Wags. I think
or
fans,
Paul Wagner in his prime.
Exactly.
I mean, come on,
the great Paul Wagner. But fans get in that sense of, you look at the other side of the fence and the grass looks greener, right? Like, oh, they got Severino. Severino's ready. But you look at his numbers. I mean, Freddie's have been slightly better than his most of the year. So there's no reason the Brewers should fear facing Severino other than as much as other fans would fear facing Peralta, which is, we know, a guy that can at times be gotten, right? At times can be good, but at times it can be gotten.
Yeah, I mean, Severino is that guy. I mean, he is good. But if you look at his last 3 games, he's given up 4 or 5 home runs. He's susceptible to the long ball. He's got a nasty sweeper. That sweeper, and he plays that sweeper on both right-handers and left-handers. He throws that hard sinker about 94 to 96, and he'll bust it away on lefties, and he'll bust it in on righties. What happens is he gets too into a pattern. You have to get his pitch count up. If we can get his pitch count up, his stuff begins to elevate in the zone. And when things elevate in the zone, that's when you can do damage. So if you can play the Milwaukee Brewer baseball like we did all year, get on base, take that extra base, make sure you don't make any base running mistakes. You stay on there. As soon as Severino lifts that ball up a little bit, if you can get him deep into the game and deep into his pitch count, he will give up that home run. And now all of a sudden that 1-run inning may turn into a 3-run inning, and that may coast you through 9.
Paul Wagner hanging out with us here. Brewers and Mets coming up at 4:32. You will hear Drew and KB live from Dugout 54, shockingly, at a bar before the game. They will be giving you a pregame, and then it will be Tim and Pipe hanging out until Tim and Pipe from Potawatomi. Tim Allen and Jeff Orlowski going to be at the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame for the baseball postgame show after hopefully a game 1 victory. Wags, you mentioned this team's brand of baseball and not making mistakes on the base paths. But being aggressive on the base paths is going to be something that they're going to lean on. They've done it all year long with so many different guys having 20-plus steals. Is that something that you become more cautious with in the postseason because the outs are maybe more valuable? Or in your estimation, as a guy that's been on the mound, knows the frenetic nature that can present as a pitcher, at least keeps your mind somewhat occupied on the base runner, not only the man in the batter's box? Is that something you push down on the accelerator for in the playoffs?
No. Earlier, I want the Brewers to play Brewer baseball like they did all year. Alvarez is throwing out 21% of the base runners he's faced this year. I mean, guys are running off of him. If you can run, do not cause down. Don't get into that situation where we're waiting for the long ball. Milwaukee Brewers hit 175 homers or something. We're not going to play for that long ball. We got to play stealing bases, taking that base. No, don't put the gas pedal down. Don't say, oh, he's on first. It's a playoff game. Now let's change our whole philosophy. I hope they don't. I hope they play the same aggressive baseball they played all year. That's how you won this year. That's how you won the National League Central when nobody in the world thought you were going to do it. Why would you change now? Let's play the same brand of baseball we played for 162 throughout the postseason.
Wags, this is a really interesting matchup with the Mets. We started the season in New York, and there was a name, David Stearns, that really brought a little bit of energy and angst into that first series. Then you finished the season against the Mets. You nearly knocked them out of the playoffs single-handedly. You've gone 5-1 against them on the year. How big is David Stearns and the Mets? Is that going to factor in at all to the emotion of this series?
No. I mean, you're talking past like what we did in the regular season compared to what we're doing now. I do not believe so. I don't think anybody in that Mets dugout, that Mets clubhouse, management, David Stearns, nobody cares what happened. They're in it right now. They got it. They say that they can beat us in 9 innings of baseball today, and that's their mentality. They don't look back and go, oh, man, I don't want to play Milwaukee. We lost 5 out of 6 games to them. Man, I hope we go out to San Diego, or I hope we could play Arizona or something like that. No, you know how it is, John. Playoff sports is different. The adrenaline, the blood pressure, the heart rate, the controlling of the body is what takes you. As soon as that postseason bell rings, it's a whole different ballgame. And it's so hard to explain to people what it is. Oh, it's just the same baseball game. It's not. It's not. It's the same way I say to guys when they say, oh, Devin Williams is, he's just your closer. You know, we can let him go. I go, you don't know what it takes to get the last 3 outs of a Major League Baseball game. It's hard. 27 outs are hard to get, and those last 3 are the hardest, and that's why they call it the closer. Playoff baseball, hey, the slate's clean. New York Mets against the Milwaukee Brewers, Freddie Peralta and Severino.
All right, I want you to explain that to me because I know exactly how the NFL game changes from preseason to regular season to postseason. Tell us how the postseason changes for Major League Baseball players.
So you know everything is at stake, like we all do. Everything is there. So what am I doing? Am I going to select a certain pitch? Am I going to give Freddie Peralta that sweeper? You know what? Yeah, I saw it. I've seen it all year. I've seen video. You know what? I'm not going to try to do too much. If that ball is starting, if his slider's sweeper is starting middle to middle out, my right-handed Alonso's going to spin on it. Whereas maybe during the year, he's going to say, maybe I can see if I can get to this pitch. I might try to do that. I might try to attack a first pitch. I might play tendencies for him. I may stay to more of my efficient actions rather than my deficiencies. Let my deficiencies be that. If I can't hit the high heater, as soon as I see that fastball elevated and it's the IVB, that vertical break is in the 10s and the 12s where a pitcher wants it, I'm not going to swing under that ball. You change your philosophy, but not ruining what you did all year. You almost magnify everything you do. I'm assuming a wide receiver makes crisper routes, a quick 10 and out. He's quick, he's grip, he plants his foot and he's right to that pin, right to that slash mark. They're going to do stuff that you never thought. Are you going to, you just amplify your game. And I'm not saying that for 162 games, guys don't try. You try to perfect your sport, your profession every single time out there. But right now, I'm not trying to perfect it. I have to do what I do best, because if I do what I do best, that's how I'm going to win.
What Brewers position player are you most excited to see in this moment? Like, there's a lot of people that are anxiously waiting a Willy Adames moment because of the season that he's had, Wags, and knowing that he's walking into free agency, got the send-off. Jackson Chourio, Rhys Hoskins, who are you most excited to see in a clutch moment because of what this could be for him coming up tonight?
Well, I'd love to see Chourio. I'd love to see Jackson step up as a 20-year-old, but I want to see how Rhys Hoskins is a veteran, played in Philly for a long time. He can play. I know his numbers and everything. His production this year wasn't what we thought. Watch what the veterans do. And with that being said, watch how the Jackson Chourios, the Garrett Mitchells, the Sal Freliks, the Bryce Terangs, how the younger guys look, and watch how Riz and Willy Adames play. The Joey Ortiz, watch how those guys perform now, because the veterans will step up their game, which in turn will help the young players step their game up.
Can't wait for it, Wags. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be electric. Our guy Armin's going to be there cheering for home runs, no bunts, and a Brewers victory.
We need runs. We need runs. We need launch angle. Let's go.
Need launch angle.
Sorry,
launch angle
Wags.
and extra base hits.
I'm sorry, Wags. We hit a bunch of singles last year and it wasn't enough. We need launch angle. That's all I'm saying. Now, we can get all of it. I'd be happy with it. Singles, stolen bases. Let's get all of it.
A bunt single. Why not? Grab all of it.
Hey, and you better be in your seat because Jim Gantner's throwing the first pitch out and Brandon Woodruff's throwing one out today. Did you guys see that?
Woody's tomorrow.
No, I thought Moose was tomorrow. Am I wrong?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Moose is tomorrow. Woody also today. Good call.
But I just need, if Gumby throws a strike, we're good. All right. Wouldn't you say, Wags? If Jim Gantner throws a strike, we're good.
Hey, if that's what we're looking for, that's what I want. I know you won't be talking to anybody. I know you're going to be concentrating on the game. So you take a scorecard if that's what you do, but you come down. I know you're going to watch it. You can complain about every bad call, mismatch, or a mishap.
Oh, I'll be.
Well, Wags, actually, Mike Heller's the one that's going to be keeping the 97.3 the game scorecard. He told us that yesterday because Mike said, I am paying full attention. I keep scorecard. So holy cow. I almost just swore I was so impressed by the intensity of that game. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to watch it And then we're going to be talking about it
You
next
don't
week
want-
on Tuesday.
You do not want to talk to Armin or Mike Heller during a
Nope.
baseball game, especially a playoff.
If you
Can't do it. Can't do it.
You
Can't
can-
do it.
If
They're
we're
busy.
talking about the game, then you can talk to me all the time you want. I mean, I want to talk about the game, but don't tell me about, hey, what do you think of the weather?
How's
today?
Lena doing?
Yeah, she's doing great. Thanks. Move on.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Wag. Appreciate it, buddy.
You
We'll
gonna
talk
keep
next
Josh
week.
going? Armin, are you going to
All right,
keep
boys,
Josh
have a good
going?
one.
I'll
See you,
try.
buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to be able to, John, because there's going to be like 2 or 3 pictures that they're going to have to take during the stressed out moment. Then there's going to be the excited moment. And then the, oh my God, this is
Right.
the moment. Like there's going to be a lot of pictures there.
Well, the problem with that is we're going to start the game. It's going to be 0-1 on our first guy. Oh, no, it's over. Oh, come on, man. I don't do that.
That's what I mean. It's such an interesting dynamic because everything that you're saying we can't do, you're going to have sitting right next to you with Josh.
Yeah, 100%.
No
Right away.
pictures. Josh
Instantly.
is going to want 1,000 pictures.
I know.
No Eeyores. Josh is going to Eeyore immediately. Like how are you going to make 9 innings of that? And you're not leaving early.
Ground out to second. What are we doing?
What are we doing? You got to hit it past that guy.
Oh, gosh.
It's going to be a great one. It's going to be an exciting one. Can't wait for it. Can't wait to bring you just a couple of pieces, some excerpts of this new piece that was just dropped by Ken Rosenthal on our Brewers manager and Cody Stavenhagen. Cody Stavenhagen, great work on this Pat Murphy story. It is an elite piece on the man that's leading your Milwaukee Brewers. So we'll bring you some pieces of that and also the NicolaLaw.com talking text line open for you as we're pre-gaming, getting ready for Brewers and Mets with you. Stay wide on the game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And wouldn't it be nice if you could customize anything in life? I'm talking about like weather. What if you could just make it a perfect weather day at any point in time? Or your favorite sports teams, they'd never lose. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Well, get the look you want for your home with customizable windows and doors from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The durability of materials gets tested. They open and close latches, doors, and shades thousands and thousands of times to ensure they last for years to come. Other unique offerings include fold-away hardware, custom colors, ease of maintenance, because honestly, who has time to deal with all of that stuff? Well, Pella Windows and Doors does. They also include innovative features like shades between the glass, integrated roll screens, and noise reduction. And listen to this. Right now, you can get 0% interest for up to 36 months, 3 years, 0% interest. But you got to hurry. This deal is only available through October 31st. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details, and please let you know that John Kuhn sent you. Visit PellaWI.com today.
9 to noon on the game. Now, John Coombs right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian by our side. He's getting ready to go to Brewers and Mets. Right from work today, you're just going right down to the ballpark? Or are you stopping in Natty Oaks?
Well, I'm going to probably
fuel up a little bit and then go to the ballpark.
Well, I'm going to probably try and stop in Natty Oaks first. I'm going to talk to Wolf. Maybe we can take the shuttle, do it that way. I got to fuel up for the game. Big
I would suggest no disrespect. No disrespect.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna go. To be honest with you guys, I've been eating a lot of legumes the last couple of days. I'm trying to get a little bit.
What? You're getting bananas and peanuts in you?
I got what? I've had lentils all week. Yeah, legumes are like beans. Legumes. I don't know. They're like whatever. Anyway,
It's a potted.
Sort of, or like a bean.
A lagoon or something.
Damn it, that's a lagoon.
Lagoon versus
Lagoon.
Yes. Okay.
I love
almonds eating peas. Lots of peas and
a
bananas.
lot of lentils. I love their chili, but I might have had too much fiber this week, so I might go.
You do eat a lot of fiber.
I'm
First of
gonna
all,
go
his pea drive back up. He's got to eat more. He did eat. So now he's eating peas to go to back up.
I have a smash burger at Natty Oaks with that boy Wolfie before we. I don't know. I mean, I just say I don't want to have too much fiber, and then have to, miss the game because I'm running to the, concourse.
You have a road game at Amsterdam?
Are you 70 years old? What are you talking about?
You gotta control. Hey,
This is what you drink fruit. What are you too worried that you're going to be cleaned out by the seventh inning?
So I'm drinking hydrate because this mindset actually starts when I'm producing Packers Radio Network.
Sure.
I really can't leave that studio much, so I'm concerned about my diet beforehand. If you catch my drift, I want to make sure I'm not eating the wrong thing.
Do you not eat before you do a Packer game?
If I do, it's pretty way before.
7 years old. Oh my God!
Way before I eat.
Have to put a diaper on.
I don't really eat.
Seriously.
Then I
this
wait.
Packer broadcast brought to you by Depends, apparently, in the studio.
It's fun in games. It's funny, but when you're in the chair, it can be a serious business. You want to make sure you don't have a problem.
It's clearly serious business. I'm excited.
I gotta get this thing. I gotta get this plane in the air. You know what I mean? I can't be messing around.
Keep my pants
So,
clean.
I think I'll have a smash burger because I don't want to mess with too much fiber today.
Yeah, have a smash burger and have a beer.
Obviously, I'm gonna have that.
And enjoy yourself. A lot of Brewers fans fired up and ready to enjoy themselves. Even more than humanly possible because Brewers baseball is back in the postseason today. And that's what Ryan and Sheboygan wanted to call us about here at 414-799-1973. He's been waiting patiently. Ryan, appreciate the patience. Sorry to hold off for Paul Wagner. You're on 9 to noon with you and Billy and Armin.
What's up, Wisconsin? What are we doing today?
We're getting ready for
We're winning.
baseball,
We're
Ryan.
getting the dub, baby.
Let's do this. I mean, I'm calling. I want to tell you guys why it's hard. The baseball gods are here.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Why is that?
So we got, one, we got Bob Uecker, and it's just time. It's time, Bob. Come on, let's go, Brewers. And the second point, my lifelong friend, we were lifelong Brewer fans. He moved to California a long time ago, but Brewers were still his team. The goal, we were going to bring his kids to Milwaukee this year for opening day. He passed away in February. And ever since that day he died, it's been hard. But once this baseball season started, the life he had is alive in this season, and I can feel it, and it's real.
That is.
I was at the game we were at the game on Friday night. Before we could even sit down and get comfortable, I lost my voice because of a grand slam in the first inning.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brewers.
That's what I'm talking about, Brian. Brian, thank you so much for sharing that story.
Yes, for
an
sure.
emotional story. Thank you, and go Brewers, because John, there's always stories like that. And now my man Tim Allen has been doing post-game shows for almost 2 full decades right now. He just turned 60 years old last week. And for what he has meant to my personal and professional life, there's a lot of people that you think about and want to see this happen for. He's right there at the top of the list. Brian and Sheboygan now, his buddy is right there at the top of the list as well.
Absolutely.
And the longer and longer we go, start having more and more people on those lists. So we need to go and win one of these damn World Series to be able to have this in everyone's lifetime. And that is an emotional story. And we appreciate Brian for sharing it. Whoever you're cheering for today and whoever's with you, your buddy's with you here today as you're watching that Brewers game.
No doubt. And I just can't help but just believe that everybody has that little inspiration that drives them to believe that this could be the year. And some years it's not, but some years it is. In 2010, I told you this, we used to say it was because everybody got pregnant at the same time. Like we had like 20 babies
I remember you
on
saying
Packers
that.
team.
Yeah.
And it was a logistics nightmare trying to get wives down to the Super Bowl because the
Did you guys
weather
have
was
2
terrible.
full suites of like pregnancy with a couple of OBGYNs on
Well,
staff?
there was a bunch. Remember when Jason Kelsey was playing in the Super Bowl and his wife Kylie was pregnant?
yeah.
And she
yeah.
was like super duper preggers.
Yes.
And they were, you probably shouldn't fly. Well, I'm going to the Super Bowl anyways. Yeah, there was some of that going on.
That's
with the Packers as
amazing.
well. Yeah. So sometimes it is divine intervention that plays a part as well.
There's special seasons are made of special stories. Timmy always talks about it, and they really are super, super special. And the relationship and the bond between the Milwaukee Brewers and the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin is a very, very unique one. We talk about the Packer one. It is a very long-standing relationship, the partnership, the fans owning the team. This one, the Brewers are so directly affected by fans buying in, loving, and continuing to make Brewers baseball a part of their everyday lives come April all the way into now what's turned into October, because this is kind of habitual, is getting into the postseason and hopefully moving on and being able to win one of these damn postseason series and start moving on here, get to Philadelphia next week, go and beat the LA Dodgers in the NLCS, and let's get to a damn World Series finally. Let's do it again. Uncle Packer is up on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. What's on your mind, Unc?
I'm sitting here in so much joy. I want to come to you with no negativity, only love.
Love this. Bring it.
It scares me that I just hope that Major League Baseball will allow a small league team like the Brewers with
Wait. You think it's up to them?
Dodgers.
You think
I
there's something
hope
going
not.
on here? Is that what you're saying, Unc? You said you're going to bring positivity, and right away you're scared.
Yeah, I'm scared. I just want our small, with Bob Uecker and all the great things we've got going on this year in Milwaukee. I want to go there and I want to holler us all the way to the World Series.
I love that.
That's what I'm talking about.
We need that.
The people to show up. We need that. We need to show the world that all of us people who are Brewers fans are just as important as New York, Los Angeles. We want to win.
Let's go.
We deserve this.
Let's go.
We're Brewers fans. We need to scream our way to the World Series. Take it. Our smiley little Jackson Cheerio, our smiley Adamas. We need to win this. We're the Brewers. We need to be kicking some butt.
There we go.
Damn straight.
There we go. Let's go.
Let's go, Uncle
You got me
Packer.
going. Let's
That's
go.
what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
You got Armin jumping around, losing his absolute
Yes.
mind here in the studio. Thanks for the call, Uncle Packer. That's fantastic.
We are the
juice.
Brewers. We are the Brewers. Let's go. I love that, man. That's it. It's a collective effort. Wherever you are out there, let's hear you, Milwaukee.
Hey,
Let's
Murph
hear you,
did
Wisconsin.
say, John, I don't know if you caught this when they ended up getting booed during the 8-0 performance that ended up leading to the 10-9 comeback win and ultimately ousted the Arizona Diamondbacks a week ago. And he was talking about it like, damn, the guys were looking at each other in the dugout like, we're really getting booed right now. These fans are really booing us right now. I mean, we're down 8-0 in a game that doesn't really matter. And they're booing us saying, hey, fellas, let's kick it in the ass. Let's get going here. Come back and win. They're feeling you. They hear the intensity. They hear the crowd. Keep it going.
They do.
Keep it going
And
all night long.
Isn't that interesting though, that booing down 8-0, led to a miraculous comeback that, if you think about it, knocked the Arizona Diamondbacks
Bounced them out
of the postseason
Yes.
for this year. And that was the team that knocked you out of the postseason last year. Just saying, already getting rid of some early demons.
I like that. I
It
like that. We're
matters.
already vanquishing last year's nightmare, finishing it off. And now New York Mets, sorry about it. Sorry about it. You're just in the way.
You're in the way.
You're in the way of this train rolling down the tracks, and it is a mean machine in blue and gold for the Milwaukee Brewers rolling to American Family Field coming up here today. I got a stat about the Green Bay Packers that I want to run by from Rob Domofsky as well before we get into You Better You Bet. That is a very, very important You Better You Bet here today coming up at 11. Because we might have a can't miss that could feature the Milwaukee Brewers 15 minutes after. We got to review week 4, figure out who is into the postseason after last night's Monday night doubleheader, get somebody in for week number 5. And the by the way department, we got to figure out who had the score prediction right from week 4, Packers and Vikings, to find out who is going to be your contestant coming up text-wise tomorrow for a wide open Wednesday. We got a lot going on. We're back well before the investment hour 11. Because it's Kuhn, Billy, and Armin statewide on the game. It's 9 to noon. 9 to noon on the game. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why on earth I'm seeing Dan Orlovsky in such short shorts on television here, and why it was all man thigh on ESPN's First Take, as Stephen A. Smith is trying to tell everybody that the Minnesota Vikings are now the best team in pro football, John Kuhn. It's 9 to noon on the game. Stephen A. got Vikings, Chiefs, Ravens. Now 4-0, spoils go the victors as their 31-29 win over the Packers on Sunday, one of the final proving grounds for people to start believing that team is legit. That feels like fresh off the overreaction train, but Stephen A. Smith jumping in. Are the Vikings going to be the bandwagon team for people around pro football to jump on here after 3 straight weeks of wins over the Niners, Texans, and Packers here?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. Let's be honest. What we get on ESPN is some interesting stuff. It really is. Take it with a grain of salt. It's on everybody's television because it's the familiar channel, but really, what are you getting? You're not getting a whole lot. You're getting fodder. Like, I love the Saleh, Aaron Rodgers beef kind of discourse that's going on. And yet I'm still waiting to hear how Robert Saleh said we need to maybe not do some of this cadence stuff. I have a feeling it was in jest, kind of sarcastic.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story. Or
just ridiculous kind of comment made to a reporter at a time. Like, these guys can't do it, so maybe we got to get rid of it. I mean, I have a feeling it's like that. That's some weird stuff. Vikings, hey, I mean this. They're a decent team, and they're putting some stuff together, and they got 4 wins. I still think the Packers are better. I still think the Packers have a better roster, top to bottom. I mean, yes, Justin Jefferson is an immense talent, and their defense presents some challenges for your team. But watching the film, more of what the Packers did in this past game was self-inflicted.
Yeah,
a lot of it was self-inflicted. And again, Justin Jefferson is when these two teams play, Justin Jefferson's the best player on the field. He's the best player in the field, but the better team is the Green Bay Packers, from top to bottom. I wholeheartedly believe that, and I think over time it will catch up to Minnesota. When people say, "Oh, they played prevent," from halfway through the second, that's not true. That's not true.
They were still trying to do some things. Yeah,
they did play a little bit more too high, but they did blitz Jordan Love down the stretch of that fourth quarter as well. So it wasn't prevent. It wasn't prevent offense. It wasn't prevent defense. The Packers adjusted. The Packers sleptwalked through the first quarter and a half of that football game, and that's why they lost. Because guess what? When you face a good team, you have to play a good 60 minutes, not just a second half and half of the second quarter. Packers found that out. That's a lesson to be learned. Next time they play the Vikings, they'll have to be better because the Vikings are a good team, but I do believe the Packers are better still.
Yeah, it's also going to help if you have Jair Alexander and Carrington Valentine. Like, I mean, those stats as you added up of what Jefferson and Addison did just matched up against Stokes and Valentine and Nixon respectively. It's difficult, no doubt about it. John, I also thought, like, in going back and watching some more of it yesterday, I give a lot of kudos to the Vikings kind of selflessness in their pass rush. Like the sack that Jones gets on Jordan Love, correct me if I'm wrong, on the stunt, Blake Cashman comes in and just barrels into the 2 Packers left side offensive linemen, keep them from being able to recover out on Jones. And it's a fraction of a second away from Jordan Love being able to spin out of that thing and have somebody down the field to push the ball to. But those are big winning plays. They made a lot of winning plays from guys who were not just their stars, let alone when their stars needed to be. They were fantastic. And Jefferson, like, he didn't kill them as he did in the first half back in US Bank, but it was just every gotta have it moment. Jefferson was the best player on the field.
Yeah,
and it's week 4. Luckily, there's plenty more time before the penultimate game of the season.
There is a lot more time, and we will find out a lot more. But right now, we're sitting in a division that could get 3 teams into the playoffs. I believe it's the most competitive division in the NFC, and that's a tough one. Looking at what the NFC East has with Dallas, Philly, and Washington, I feel like we're a tick above them. The NFC South that has a resurging Atlanta and Tampa Bay with New Orleans there now. I think we're a tick above them. And then the West right now, where the 49ers are so decimated with injuries, but it's not just Caffrey, Kittle, and
Mhm.
Debo anymore. I mean, you can go to Hargrave. I think is
out
done
the
for the
year.
season. I mean, Billy, they are down half their starting roster.
Couldn't happen to a better team.
And last night we see what happened when Seattle came in and played the line. So yeah, there's a lot to go in there, but I think the NFC North is the strongest division in football in the NFC. That is.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, John. And I think all three of us had in our predictions that like 3 teams would get in. That's something easy to say. And then to see the proof in the pudding actually on the field, like that it turned out to be that good and one of the teams not be the one that we expected to make that leap of the Chicago Bears. Fascinating. I wanted to bring this up. Rob Domofsky, in his second look write-up yesterday, talked about so far the biggest issue for the Packers on defense. And John, he called it affecting the quarterback. We've talked a lot about the pressure that the Packers are putting on and the lack thereof of the final sacks, but just the couple numbers are pretty impressive. When the Packers have pressured opposing quarterback, while the Packers have pressured opposing quarterbacks 49 times, which is 6th most in the NFL through 4 weeks, according to their ESPN research department. They're not necessarily moving signal callers off the spot or speeding up their release, as passers have averaged over 2.7 seconds inside the pocket, most in the league, and they're averaging over 3 seconds before throwing the ball, which is 2nd most in the league. Packers pass rush win rate, lowest in football at just over 27%. Is that some manipulating fun with numbers?
Yeah, how does that
because
work?
of the way they played in week number 1 and 2?
Yes and yes. I think there's a little bit of a reason why the numbers are the way that they are. Obviously, we mentioned how they were approaching rushing both the quarterbacks in the first 2 weeks. And then you come into this past week where you don't have your cornerbacks that you feel really positive about. So you take a little bit of a safe approach there as well. Obviously, the curve is not as bad as it seems. If we had a game where we had 8 stinking sacks in it, but it almost feels like we've had a governor on our pass rush for 3 out of 4 games. Analytics would kind of verify that if we're taking a look here, but it's still something that I would put on the radar as an error for caution. Be careful, because I do want to know, Rashawn Gary, when we are rushing 4, you're the guy that we paid to get home.
Yeah, you're the guy that needs
a little
to
bit
win.
more out of you. You know, Kenny Clark, a little bit more up the middle. With Devontae Wyatt being out, it's going to be especially more weighted on Kenny Clark up the middle. So there are things that are going to play itself out here. I'm anxious to see when we get to put some real exotics in. We haven't really done it yet this year. If you watch Tennessee, and even this pass game a little bit, we got a little creative with Edger and Cooper in the pass rush game. With him, Quay Walker on the line rushing. You can put Cooper inside. You can put Quay Walker on the outside, Rashawn Gary on the other outside, and you have yourself kind of a dynamic Lucas Van Ness on an inside. You have a dynamic group there. You can start mixing and matching and moving these guys around a little bit more even, and I think it will create even more pressure. So we'll see. The Packers in their next 4 games, check it out. You got 1-3 Rams. You got 1-3. Who's after that?
Cardinals,
1-3 Cardinals. Then you got the 3-1 Texans and the 0-4 Jaguars. The Packers have a month of October worth getting excited for, but now they have to get excited themselves and be a little greedy and go out there and make it happen.
Yeah, now you got to go and take advantage, because it is a feastable schedule up until, as you mentioned, those 4 games, till you go and face that Motor City Muscle when Dan Campbell's Lions come to town just ahead of the bye week. That game is circled in pen. I can tell you that one is very much one that people are very much looking forward to.
Goff will miss at least 1 pass during that game. I'm making a
You're going to
prediction.
call it? Well, he's going to be outdoors. So that's definitely going to help
Making
small
a
hands
prediction.
Jared. But
damn,
Jared Goff, man. I'm like, there were some wild opinions about Jared Goff when he left Los Angeles.
I give him big time props, man.
Amazing, John.
I
Amazing.
give him big time props.
I'm watching him on Hard
No
Knocks, shipping off a beautiful, picturesque location in Los Angeles with his supermodel swimsuit fiance at that point. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, you stink. We're going to send you and 2 first-round picks to Detroit. What the heck happened? He's turned his life around and having himself a damn start to the season. All right, 414-799-1973 is the phone number to reach. If you want to be Week 5 contestant, you bet. Milwaukee Brewers to win the World Series. Armandsarian. How many games do
Yes.
they have to win?
Oh gosh,
I got the shorthand answer.
3, 4,
13.
13. Yeah.
13. Caller number 13 going to be the contestant for You Better You Bet. That's on the other side. It's 9 to noon. Hour 3, best one yet, comes up next on the game. Hour 3, 9 to noon. The investment hour is our best one of the day. It features one of our favorite places in the whole wide world, Potawatomi Sportsbook, where Tim Allen and Jeff Orlowski, we like to call him the Polish pipe bomb. They will both be after Brewers and Mets Game 1 NL Wild Card Series. It starts tonight, this afternoon, 4:32. And as people are still anxiously awaiting, yes, the deadline for Major League Baseball to get the postseason roster by the Milwaukee Brewers was 10 a.m. We understand it's 11:04, and you're wondering where your NL wildcard roster is. Well, we will get it to you once it becomes available. Our guy Adam McCalvey posting online, somebody had asked him in all caps, guys. He said, Adam, where's the playoff roster? Wasn't it due by 10 a.m.? Adam said, well, since we're doing this in all caps, the roster was due to MLB by 10 a.m. It never is released at 10 a.m. because they have to make the fancy graphic. So let's act like we've been here before.
I love this.
I just want to know why we're yelling.
I get it. Fans are passionate, but don't yell at your friendly beat writers like they're doing something wrong or like, come on, give me a break.
We want to know if Brian Hudson's on the postseason roster.
They want us the roster, Armin. Give him a break.
And when it's time, we'll get it. Like, give me a break. How's your life going to change knowing Brian Hudson's on the roster 15 minutes before it happens?
Maybe I want to know if I should be throwing my Sal Frelick Admirals Brewers jersey on, that nice, sweet hockey jersey that they gave out earlier in the year, because I don't know if he's going to be on the roster or not.
Even if he's not, you can still wear it. I mean, come on. I mean, you wouldn't want to miss that chance to get that 655 OPS. On your back, you know what I mean?
Jeez, Louise.
You wouldn't want to miss that chance.
I thought we were all positive here, John, and then we're dumping
positive
on Sal Frelick's OPS right now from Armin. Sorry,
I'm
guys just trying to figure out how he can be out there for your squad.
I'm just reading a stat. Okay, that's a fact. Okay, it's.
Well, you're all worried about Tyrone Taylor. What's his OPS this year?
I don't know, but all I remember is Tyrone Taylor hit a big bomb last year for us in the playoffs, and I don't want it to happen again against us. So.
Well, luckily it didn't matter because they still lost. So Tyrone Taylor will still lose today because
let's go. I like that.
Listen, Tyrone Taylor, that's not the one that I'm worried about.
I know what you're worried about.
Do I even say it, guys? Do we even put it out there in the?
I think you say
don't run from your nightmares.
If freaking Jesse Winker comes up with a big hit during this postseason, I think every Brewers fan collectively is going to have the largest sigh and groan and whatever other digestional sound you're gonna make if Jesse Winker is somebody that makes a big move for you.
Should we just put him on base if he gets up there just so we can avoid that? We'd be that nervous about him, getting a hit against
I'm not
us?
nervous. I'm just putting it right now. If that's a dude that somehow gets a big hit in one of these postseason games,
I'm with you. I agree.
We're losing our collective minds.
Collective.
Luckily, it'll be okay because Pat Murphy's squad is going to rally. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if Jesse Winker gets a hit in the 6th inning that puts the Mets up 3-2.
How much?
Because this crew is going to go and score 3 in the 8th and win that dang thing.
I love that. I'm sure, and Jesse, I'm sure he'd love to do it. Right? How much would he love to do that? The way
812 OPS from this guy this year. He couldn't hit himself out of a brown paper bag a year ago.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
Makes
sense.
no sense.
Yeah.
You know what does make sense? 11 a.m. on 9 to noon, you anxiously waiting to figure out what call you need to be a part of You Better You Bet, because it's one of the best things rolling in Milwaukee radio. We got results, we got a contestant, and we got these two guys singing for you right now.
You better.
You better. You better. You bet.
You better.
Better. You better. You bet.
You better bet we're going to week 5 in the NFL for some predictions. But John Kuhn, we got to go back before we go forward. We got to be figuring out after week number 4 in the NFL, who is moving on, if anybody, because we've been having some hot weeks so far in the NFL, but we hit the quarter pole. We've finished the month of September. We're into October. What are we looking at after week 4 in You Better You Bet results?
Yeah, you said it, Billy. Let's find out if anybody beat the guys to eat with the guys at Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier fine dining destination for over a decade, with that extensive wine menu, international domestic Wagyu steaks, and over 3,000 different wines, along with an incredible craft cocktail list. Omar and the gang at Carnivore have something to meet and exceed even the finest taste buds' expectations, where fine dining meets
the modern experience.
Only at Carnivore. And week 4 in the National Football League did not have a lot of great scores, a lot of 1s and 2s. In fact, Billy and I both had 2. And the number, but Billy and I both had 2. But there's a lot of 2s or below, meaning Sam, West Allis, Eddie and Titchigan, Brian and Eau Claire, and Burrow Bruce all failed to get in. They all had 2 or 1. And in fact, it's only Tony and Oak Creek who have the Vikings.
Let's go, Tony.
As his lock.
Well, we don't
the
like
Saints plus 2.5. You got the Saints at a good number. And the Bears at -3. Only Tony and Oak Creek got through. He got 4. Congratulations, Tony. Which means how many total people are set up for the playoffs as we speak, Armin?
All right, we got Tony. We have Mark and Madison. And it looks like we've only got Josh and DePier. So we've got 3.
You're right.
total.
It's only 3. It's only 3. It took forever for you to get there.
Well,
It's
I
only
just want
3.
to
Only
make
3
sure.
people in the
Process of
playoffs.
elimination.
3 people through 4 weeks. 3 people
I
through
just
4
wanted to
weeks.
make
Billy
sure I
had a
make a
perfect
mistake,
week. It's
okay?
been 1 a week. The other weeks, 3 people in the playoffs. Do
So
better,
I wanna make
Nooners.
sure.
Do better.
Well,
October
that's
might
normal.
be your month.
That's normal for us. I don't think we get any. I think we end up with about 20 something at the end of the year. So I guess we should pick it up a little bit, Nooners. Yeah.
I guess you would know. You're the one that has to do all the work for that. So we'll figure it out and see how many more people we can get on in here. Maybe we can load it up with like 50
I don't
different
know.
people you got to get picks from.
Why
in
not?
The playoffs.
Yeah, why not? Let's just crank it up. I would love that. I would love to have as many winners as possible because I love when Nooners get picks right. Except I didn't like when Tony got
I was
this
gonna
one
say,
right
I know you didn't like these.
because it was a Vikings pick. Although I love Tony in Oak Creek. Great dude. I saw him at a dive bar once. I remember that. I like him, and I don't want him to be right when it comes to the Vikings. So
You
Tony-
like him, so he must not be a truck driver,
Right,
electrician,
exactly. Yeah.
blue collar folk. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's go to Jameson in Milwaukee because we got 3 into the postseason trying to see who could be the 4th, but who in week 5 has the picks that are going to beat the guys so they can eat with the guys. Jameson thinks he does. He is on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line, and Jameson is ready for his first pick. J-Mo, where are you headed?
Morning, guys. Let's start with the Seahawks.
Starting with the Seattle Seahawks licking their wounds after a shootout L last night. They go back home, John. They're 6-point favorites against the G-Men.
Hey, good team to get. Good team to get at home if you need to get back into the win column. And the G-Men are going to have some significant time off. They're going to be rested before they take that West Coast trip after losing to the Cowboys in what was a much closer game than many of us expected. But I would suspect that the Seahawks, even on a short week playing a team like the Giants, even on a long week, should be able to cover up. But yet it's over 5.5 points. So good luck with that one.
Yeah, so Giants probably win. If Malik Neighbors plays, I like the Giants. If Malik Neighbors doesn't play, I'd lay 16 with Seattle. Like I think that's where I'm at right now with Malik Neighbors and the Giants.
What did you take with Malik Neighbors tweeting after the game? And I mean, the comment was, "Leak, are you okay?" in the locker room, and he said no. And then he tweeted out a picture with the prayer hands and said, "Thanks for all my support." I mean, I got a feeling he was really messed up after that concussion that was caused by the turf.
Yeah, and there's really no update on it, John. Like at least by this time, you would think maybe today or tomorrow. With them having the extended bye, I thought we would have gotten some kind of news on him yesterday, some kind of update. So that doesn't seem good. I think it might be a little bit wild for Malik Neighbors. That's why I really like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jameson in Milwaukee. He might be Jameson Williams.
He's already their best player, in my opinion, Malik Neighbors. So if he's out, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, he's already one of the best wide receivers in football. The guy's insane. All right, Jameson in Milwaukee, not Jameson Williams, who scored a touchdown for the Lions last night. Jameson, what's your next pick?
Let's go with the Commanders.
He's going with the Washington Commanders. And by the way, it could be Jameson Williams. He was one of those guys that got nipped 6 games for a gambling issue. I mean, like if anybody would in the NFL want to do you better, you bet, it might be Jameson Williams. Okay, he's taking the Washington Commanders. Seems like a good pick. They lay 3.5 against the Cleveland Browns, who last week, John, were missing both of their starting offensive tackles. And somehow Deshaun Watson looked like an NFL quarterback. They still lost. So they catch 3.5 against the Commies, who arrow straight upward.
Commies in first place in that NFC East, and their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, has the best completion percentage in all of football. A little bit of that is because they took care of him. A little bit of that is because Cliff Kingsbury knows how to take care of younger quarterbacks. You know, it didn't work for him in Arizona as a head coach, but he does have that mind of being able to run that RPO system, which is what Jaden Daniels is so good at. So hey, the Commanders got to be taken seriously now going into the second month of the season.
Jaden Daniels, anytime touchdown in a game might be the new Christian McCaffrey bet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can
Like,
see
it
that.
might be the Jalen Hurts there by the goal line. He's going to get a chance to run the thing in. And he is an electric factory. Like that pick. Jameson, what's your next one?
I hate to do it, but until they prove me wrong, I'll take the Vikings.
He's taking the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings in week number 5 head across the pond. They're technically the home team against the New York Jets. They lay 2.5 in London.
8:30 a.m., which means I'll be on the West Coast. That'll be what?
6:30. Yeah.
You getting up for that
6:30
one?
Start time for me. Well, I have to.
What do you say?
Armin,
You
it's
might be
got
on the
Aaron
bike.
and the Vikings. How can I not get up
I
for that
know.
thing?
He could just be up, get a nice sweat going on the bike, watch the first half,
Honestly,
get some
6:30 in
breakfast.
the morning West Coast time. I'm gonna be up.
Well, how-
Yeah.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to sleep to this point in time. But the Vikings, are gonna go over there and play in London, a place that Aaron was really upset he didn't get to spend more time at last year. Now I know they didn't leave yet. The Jets didn't leave yet. Are they leaving today, Armin?
I'm not sure. I really haven't checked. I could try and look it up. That's a quick jaunt, though.
Last time Aaron
That
Rodgers
is.
was in London, broke his thumb. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe not great vibes over there. The Jets did not look good this past weekend offensively. And I maintain this. We talked about them, I think it was 2 Fridays ago after they won against the New England Patriots. I said, an offense is stale.
Mhm.
It's stale. Aaron likes it that way. He likes to try and be the last man on the chalkboard. But if they don't do any type of motions and shift and they just keep going out there and running this straight, it's going to be a tough year for them. It really is. If they play this Vikings team and they don't have motions and shifts, it's going to be a long day for them because that defense knows how to prepare for you, especially if you're stagnant.
Yeah, and I'm fascinated to see because Aaron's not going to want to move around. He's going to want to see it and try to go right after it. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch early on Sunday.
Maybe there's a guy out there they can get that's pretty good that knows him well that is worn on his welcome in a certain place.
Oh,
How long until they get Devontae in New York? That's all I'm asking.
I don't know. He's on Kay Adams' show today, so maybe she'll ask
I
him.
want to know.
Probably by week 7.
I think it's going to happen.
Probably by week 7. Is Devontae still in Vegas when we go out in November?
I don't know. That's a great
No.
question. I don't think so.
No, because if there is no guaranteed money for either of his next 2 years, so somebody can get him at the trade deadline. I don't think it'll be New York. I think it is
Packers?
anybody. Kansas City Chiefs, I would think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, probably. You're probably right.
I'm just. There's a team. Listen, it just makes too much sense, so it probably won't happen. But there is a team looking to do something that no team in NFL history has ever done in the Super Bowl era. Armin, that's
I know.
won 3
Yeah.
Super Bowls in a row. And right now, with that defense, you got to think they can do it with this team. But if they had Devontae on that team, oh my gosh, they would immediately get my respect, and I would say, damn it, I think they're winning another one.
Yeah.
Is he a bigger plus for the Chiefs or the Bills?
The Chiefs.
Yeah, I think so,
The
too.
Chiefs need him. Being down Hollywood Brown, being down Rasheed Rice.
Yep.
They're being down Isaiah Pacheco for the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes needs some help on that offense. Granted, he doesn't need a lot because that defense is so damn good, but they do need a little bit of help. If they go and get what could be still one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league.
There was
Yeah, I mean, that's
unreal.
I saw a
just-
Tyreek rumor too for the Chiefs. I saw a rumor that they were going to try and trade for Tyreek. Am I going crazy?
Well, now Tyreek does have a lot more guaranteed money on his deal because he just re-upped before the season. So to John's point, like it's really an easy contract.
You could make it a 1-year thing. You could restructure it to the end of the year if you wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of availability for Devontae Adams being moved this year makes a boatload of sense. Plus, his coach Antonio Pierce doesn't know how to use Instagram and accidentally liked, Devontae Adams being on the move.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough scene. Tough scene. There's a lot of wide receivers that are going to be on the move. I think Amari Cooper might be traded as well. All right, Jameson, sorry, you're sitting on hold waiting to give us more winners. What's your next one? Jameson, what's your next pick?
You got us, buddy?
Yeah, we're going to go with the Colts.
He's taking the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts catch
He fell
3.
asleep. I'm just laughing. He fell asleep.
Yeah, that was our fault. That was
Yeah, it was
potentially-
That's probably us.
Colts +3 with Joe Flacco potentially ? Because a hip pointer, John, is the official diagnosis for Anthony Richardson there at quarterback.
I think the Colts are better with Joe Flacco than Anthony Richardson. I said
I'm
it,
with you
not
on
as
that,
dynamic, not as explosive, but better,
Mhm.
safer, more consistent with Joe Flacco. You saw that by beating the Steelers. Now, Steelers did do a lot to give that game away. A couple really bad turnovers, one by George Pickens. And the Jaguars, again, if anybody, and I'll say it, I'm going to say it every week until they win. If anybody needs a win more than Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, please let me know.
Can't see
This is the most must-win a must-win has ever been in the month of September or October
Yeah.
as you've ever seen in the NFL. These two guys could both get canned midway through the season.
Yeah, that whole building could be different by November. See me at Thanksgiving and see if anybody's still employed there in Jacksonville. It's going to be a
Keep in mind,
brutal
halfway through the
situation.
season last year, Billy, they were 8-3 and in first place
First
in
place.
the AFC.
Yep, they were John. They were competing to be the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. Like
They were the
It's
number
wild.
1 overall seed at that through
Mhm.
11 games. They had to get through 6 more games, couldn't do it. Now they can't get through 4. I mean, they look terrible.
It's brutal. It is brutal. As somebody that is a Jaguar stan, it is a tough spot to be in. All right, Jameson, what's our final pick here?
I hate to make the homer pick,
Don't do it.
but I'm going to take the Packers.
Oh.
I'm going to lock it in.
That's great.
Hit them on the ground. They're going to control the game. Victory.
Yeah, I don't know why you hate
Why
doing
do you
that,
hate to do
Jameson.
that?
We like that pick. We love that pick. Packers lay 3, John, now against the Rams.
I do love that pick. However, I will just throw some caution out there. Jair getting hurt during practice last week. That's the thing that scared the groin quad kind of injury is a scary thing. And if Cooper Kupp comes back, which he is not on IR, which was
But
news
he-
to me.
Yeah, but he was yesterday already ruled out for Sunday's game.
See, the information that we get can become very old very quickly.
Mhm.
Okay, now I like
Now
it again.
out.
Now it's
Yep.
great. Now it's great. Now that's a good call.
Yeah, we're big fans of that. Big fans of Cooper Kupp already being out. And Sean McVay, thanks for that. Why would you want to play gamesmanship with one of your old buddies? All right, him and Matt LaFleur were basically roommates. He lived with LaFleur and LaFleur's wife for a little while, so he doesn't want to play that game with him.
What if
It's
he's
easy.
being really gaming? He's like, hey, Cooper's out. Okay, Matt, you don't need to rush Jair back.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just trying to pull some sort of game like that. Like, don't rush Jair back.
Friday, all of a sudden he's doubtful.
Yeah.
Starts sneaking his way up there. Oh, man. Well, then I'm going to have to hate Sean McVay again until he ends up joining the Monday Night Broadcast booth, which will probably be in about 2 years from right now. All right, 414-799-1973. That was the number that Jameson in Milwaukee called to be a part of You Better You Bet. You can call it on the other side, but we got one more pick that is an absolute must. Game 1 of the wild card, maybe?
And if you don't have tickets to tonight's Brewers-Mets game, make your way down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. Why? Because Tim and Pipe will be there, and then Tim and Pipe will be there, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be
He'd
a couple
play.
shows down there from 97.3 The Game right there in the Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. And why would you not want to be there? 2,000 square foot LED gloriousness with that curved screen, seating for over 200 and leather couches and recliners, and a lot of standing room for some others as well. 400 people can fit in the sports book. It's the biggest sports book outside of Vegas. Don't take my word for it. Make your way down there tonight for game 1 of the wild card series. Now, first, let's start Jahmyr Gibbs over 54.5 yards. That was the can't miss for yesterday. That can't miss absolutely smashed. Came through about midway through the third quarter. Got that one under our belt. One prop bet there for Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a win on Monday. Now we're going for 2 in a row. And tonight, I really, and I'm torn on this one, guys. Do I bet with what I think's going to happen, or do I mean, because I'm going to pick this wild card game. I've got to pick this wild card game. But are you feeling superstitious at all, Armin?
Somewhat. In what?
Well,
yeah. Like what? In what sense, John?
Okay, so this is what I can easily take the Brewers -1.5.
I don't
Brewers
believe in
win
jinxes.
6-4.
Is that what you're asking me? I don't believe in the jinx.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's fine. Because the other thing I could do is Wag said that the Mets do a good job of putting balls in play. They don't strike out and they don't walk all that often. So I could go, we don't have a total outs or innings pitched for Freddie Peralta here at Potawatomi
No, they
Casino
only have
Hotel
strikeouts.
Sportsbook, but we have strikeouts.
Yeah.
And I could go with plus money at plus 128 going under 5.5 strikeouts for a team. And if Freddie gets hot, then it's good for us.
Emotional hedge.
And if Freddie can't get the strikeouts, it doesn't mean anything bad for us. It just means we get a victory in the can't miss. So I'm thinking about going Freddie under 5.5 strikeouts in this thing.
I don't, maybe he's going to be pitching a soft contact. I know it's a little bit of an emotional hedge. So I could see that. I'd be working out for us. We could still win, obviously. Is that the move?
I'm just talking through it, trying to figure it out. I kind of like that. I don't mind that play right there.
You know what I do? I like Freddie under 5.5 strikeouts today.
All right, I hope he smashes it. Sorry, John.
Come on.
Hope it goes way over, but then again, I want him.
If it goes way over, we have great content for tomorrow.
I know. I also want him to get out. I don't really care how they happen. If
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I really don't care actually. So
I'm going off of what Wag said.
No,
Wag said he might pitch longer. Well, I don't have an innings count. I don't have an outs count, but I do have a strikeouts count. And Wag said that the Mets don't strike out and they don't really walk.
What's the Armin Sarian play tonight? No Bryce Terang, Sal Frelick, Jake Bauers home run,
all those,
parlay or something.
Parlay all those minus 10,000s together, and no stolen bases.
Wow, no stolen bases.
No, hold on, I'm not done. No stolen base for Joey Ortiz. That's minus 1250. You can get a lot. You can really.
This guy's unreal, dude.
And Bauers, I think I'm.
And Bauers. Okay, so you're not thinking either of them are swiping a bag. Now, interesting enough, we still don't know what the playoff roster is.
We don't know.
We still don't have the playoff roster. Now it's getting a little ridiculous. Maybe on the other side we will have it, or we just continue to give kudos to Pat Murphy for keeping this all under wraps. We're fine either way. We'll have the news for you when it comes out, and we'll share it with you on the other side. It's John Kuhn. It's Billy Schmidt. It's Armin Sarian. You got us statewide on the game. It's 9 to noon. You want to know how dialed in on playoff baseball the manager of your Milwaukee Brewers is? John Kuhn, Armin Sarri.
Yeah,
You guys want to know?
I do want to know.
This past week, Pat Murphy was asked about, how excited he is to have this opportunity, how dialed in he is on just one specific time. He was sitting down with AJ Pierzynski, Scott Braun, and one of his former players, Jason Kipnis, who played for him at ASU on their podcast, Foul Territory. John, he said, you guys know, I'm not on social media. I'm not watching. I just found out a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago that Puffy Combs has got problems.
He's so funny.
He's like, he said Puffy Combs. And I'm like,
Puffy Combs.
This is my guy right here. Knowing exactly where we're at.
I just wish all of our coaches were as funny and as gregarious and friendly and with the media and everybody else as he is. I wish all of our coaches
Who isn't?
Well, I'm just saying, I wish
the guy that just got the 15-yard penalty for screaming at one of the officials and jumping on the floor.
Listen, Matt, not everybody's as funny as the next guy. Like Pat Murphy. This is what makes Pat Murphy awesome. Damn it. And this is what I can't stand. You act like everybody can be Pat Murphy. No, not everybody can be
fair.
Pat
Yes.
Murphy.
I said
not everybody can sit at the end of the bar and be that guy in a room that's so intoxicating with his demeanor that you want to just talk with them and then buy him a beer. He's so funny. You want to buy him drinks, and yet he probably won't let you do it. That's what makes him incredible.
I know, and I love him.
It's an unfair comparison. I mean, not many people can be as just pure and funny and entertaining and enjoyable to be around as Pat Murphy.
I know that.
Probably the most likable coach I can remember in a very long time.
I agree. And I didn't even bring up anybody else. I just said, I wish they were all like him. I didn't say, I think they all should be. I know they can't be, but it would be great if you could have anything like you say, John, obviously in your Pella spot. I wish it could be all like that, but I know it can't be. That's okay. We appreciate what we got. And as long as our coaches win, that's what matters. Right. And they
no doubt about it.
All of our coaches win.
Well, and if you want a full story on to why Pat Murphy is the way he is,
Doc did have a losing record after the All-Star break, Armin.
Okay, well, I agree with that. I predict the Bucks will have a winning record.
I was just saying that before Matt in Milwaukee.
Well, listen, the Doc Rivers situation, I'm a little curious about.
That's fair.
Doc Rivers gets the team for the first full training camp, John. Is there a reason why we're practicing out at UC Irvine?
That was weird, Billy, when you pointed that out.
Is there a reason why we're flying across the country to go hang out, or is that so Doc can go play golf at LA Country Club, or what do we got playing around here?
I'm not going to. If you can get a little bit of that in still before the season starts, get it in.
So I'm honestly wondering if they're like, you know what, you guys aren't going to be able to have that much fun in the middle of the season. We'll go fly out to California. We'll practice hard, and then we can go party hard for 3 or 4 weeks, play a little bit of golf, have our fun, still work out, and then be ready for the season. I mean, teams that bond together around a keg more than Kale, I think, is a big part of it.
I do think teams that drink together win together. I've always said that.
Yes, you have.
I firmly believe that. I think the time that's spent off the field or court is just as important as the time spent on the field and the court. And obviously you need to have talent, but the talent only takes you so far. Then you got to have that kind of cohesiveness, that camaraderie, that I know what you're thinking and you know what I'm thinking. And I know that you know that I know what you're thinking, right? You only build that through time spent together, which is very hard to do just on the field and the court, especially with load management, because you don't get enough time on the field and the court anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. You have a lot more time than you're probably at the facility. Similar like what Pat Murphy was talking about yesterday. So he was at the podium yesterday speaking about a myriad of different things. The great story right now at The Athletic, if you want the full life story of Pat Murphy, it's exceptionally well done. And if you follow Matt Schneidman and you read his great stuff at The Athletic, you already have The Athletic. So you go and read that story and you hear a little bit more why Murph is like the way he is. Yesterday, this piece from the conversation yesterday was just too good about the bonding of this crew, of the squad, and it's led by Kurt Hogue, just wondering about how young Sal Frelick is doing, because we want to know if Sal Frelick's going to be on the playoff roster. Instead, Murph had some, backdoor conversations.
Murph, any update on Sal?
Yeah, Sal came in today. He feels better than he did the day before. It's hard to predict. We're going to try to put him through some physical stuff today if he can. There's still a limp in there, which concerns me a little. You know, we all know who Sal is and the type of fortitude that he has. And He's still limping, so I'm not as optimistic as I was hoping to be, but that's all I can tell you right now. We're going to try to put him through a battery of exercises. He was in the hot tub earlier with 7 or 8 other guys, so I kind of stayed clear of that. I didn't want to jump in there. Just being honest.
Appreciate the honesty, man.
The odds of I ain't getting in there. I ain't getting in those conversations.
Like, come on, man. That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm not jumping in that hot tub. There's too many. It's too packed. I'll wait for the next one. Reminds me of Major League. No, I mean, Ian, he's right. Sal's that type of player that's always going to say he's good, right? We know about how hard he works. We know about his hustle. We know about his toughness. Absolutely nobody's questioning.
He's a football player.
And a hockey player, Boston kid. So I don't know. I mean, I think if Murph is not optimistic, how could you be? I don't see him being on the playoff roster. And remember, this is just for one series. People forget that. This isn't for the whole playoffs.
So you don't see Sal Frelick being on the playoff roster?
Did it just come out?
Why don't you hit that breaking news sounder?
The minute he said it, I was like, oh, he done did it.
All right. Let's hear it.
Sal Frelick is on the 26-man playoff roster for the Milwaukee Brewers, just released a couple of moments ago. You can go to the Game MKE on Twitter or X for all of the names. But the biggest headliners, Sal Frelick.
B. Hudson, is it?
Isaac Collins makes the playoff roster as well in the outfield, along with Jackson Churio, Garrett Mitchell, and Blake Perkins. The infielders, Willie Adames, Jake Bowers, Rhys Hoskins, Andrew Monasterio, Joey Ortiz, Bryce Terang. Eric Haas makes the playoff roster, as there will be 3 catchers, William Contreras, Eric Haas, and Gary Sanchez. No Brian Hudson out of the 12 pitchers. It'll be Aaron Ashby, Aaron Savale, DL Hall, Jared Koenig, Nick Mears.
Oh, no. Okay, good. Come on, Nick. You can do it, buddy.
Nick.
I didn't mean to sound negative.
Mears.
No.
Are you excited to see that? I'm sorry.
Good Lord.
Who's the one guy that believes in Nick Mears?
Mike Heller, maybe.
Mike Heller, I think.
Maybe. Or Nick Mears' family, who's hopefully going to be at American Family Field.
Pipe Bomb definitely doesn't. I do. Heck, I'll be on the Nick Mears fan club.
Remember, this is just a one series. Every series you submit.
Listen to Armin trying to talk himself right into it.
Now, I get Isaac Collins because he's sort of the insurance policy in the outfield, right? Wouldn't you say? I
Sure.
mean, yeah.
Nick Mears, Trevor McGill, Frankie Montas, Tobias Myers, Yoel Payams, Freddie Peralta, Joe Ross, and Devin Williams. Devin Williams will speak today before the game. Generally, that's when the starting pitcher for the next day would go up to the podium. Pat Murphy's like, listen, fellas, we ain't even thinking about Wednesday's game. Not even a clue, a fact in our mind are we thinking about that at all. Also, interesting, if you read that playoff roster, no Colin Ray.
Yeah, that was interesting too, because a lot of people even saw him being a starter, to be honest, for a while, and then he's kind of been struggling recently.
Went completely from maybe he's challenging to be your number 1 starter to off the roster for Nick Mears. So awesome.
I'm just processing all this.
Your boy Nick Mears gonna be pitching here today, probably in about the 6th inning of a tie ball.
He's not going to be involved. He's not going to be. That's what I'm telling myself. He's not really going to pitch in an important situation.
Yeah, like Jesse Winker wasn't going to get a bat in his hand last year.
Getting a pinch hit at bat is different than actually having to throw an inning. Though.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely different. Definitely different. All right, come on, let's go, Brewers. Let's go.
Nick's not pitching, right?
Come on. We need to get going. We need to maybe teach some Brewers coaches the Matt LaFleur. Come on. Get that crowd going. Get the arm waving.
Dr. Dave and Matt LaFleur.
Was a little interesting that we didn't see any Coach LaFleur come-ons in the midst of that comeback on Sunday. Maybe that's
get flagged again.
Maybe that's why you weren't getting the final stop right there at the back end of the game. I don't know.
What if I told you 6 weeks ago that Hudson or Conray wouldn't be in the playoff roster? Isn't that crazy?
It's wild. Okay, so that is your playoff roster. If you want to go and look at the rest of it, coming up here, Brewers and Mets, 4:32 first pitch. Let's go, crew. We got our takeaways of the day coming up as well. It's John Kuhn, it's Billy Schmidt, it's Armin Sarian, 9 to noon, playoff edition right here on the Game. All right, 9 to noon, wrapping things up, round and third, heading for home, and we're heading into Cheesehead TV and Carry the G Radio. Myself and Aaron Nagler will have that coming up at the top of the hour. Ton of Packers conversations on a very Brewer-heavy centric day, but we got some Packers news before we get out of here today, and it's good news. Jordan Schultz of the Schultz Report is indicating that his sources are confirming Christian Watson will not have to go on IR. Unlikely to land on IR.
Let's go. That's
it
great
is
news.
likely a much better and not nearly as serious injury of a high ankle sprain for Watson. He said that's really good news for both Packers and Watson.
Let's go.
So
That is
unlikely
great
to land on IR. However, John, now this is the same guy that did not land on IR last year with a, I believe, hamstring pull at the end of the year, and then ended up missing 4 games. That was after he sat out 4 games with another hamstring injury in the beginning of the year. They didn't put him on IR. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this one, but hopefully you're seeing Christian Watson this month.
I will say that hamstrings, a lot harder to predict, right? That
Definitely.
curve to being healthy again versus an ankle sprain. An ankle sprain, they will compress it, they will ice it, they will heat it, they will compress it, they will ice it, they will heat it. I will bet you he is back at practice sometime next week.
I love that. Yes. Let's go.
Tell that to the haters who always say, say
Now,
he's injury prone and all that.
Did they say what kind of sprain it is? Because high ankle sprains can be different. But
high ankle sprain, has a high ankle sprain, but I am told it's a mild one, and he is unlikely to land on IR. That's the Jordan Schultz wording of the report.
so high ankle sprains can be a little bit different because sometimes it deals with stuff that's not entirely ankle-ish. So they can be a little bit different. But if it's mild, I still say he's back next
Still
week.
sounds
at practice
better, yeah.
In some capacity, very limited, very, very limited. I'm sure we'll see.
But now we want Christian Watson back in the lineup. They're a much more explosive offense when he's in the lineup. And if he's at 100%, definitely. Still feel a lot better knowing that Jaden Reed's going to be on the field. As quickly and as much conversation and consternating as we had during the offseason as who's the true number one, who's the number one guy. Guys, I think over the first 4 weeks, I think we've clearly figured out who the number one option on the wide receiver room is, John, right? I think that one's pretty clear right now.
He's the guy that if you're designing a special play for and you need it run just a certain way, he's the guy that you're throwing out there. He's the guy that you try and find ways to get the ball in his hands a number of times, 10 times minimum for him. 10 to 20 times is actually perfect for him. And that's what you want to do. I still think the rest of the receivers have a role, have a fit.
Absolutely.
We got to do a better job catching the football all the way around. That includes Romeo Doubs, who I know has incredibly strong hands, Dontavian Wicks, who has had the dropsies from time to time. I think Tucker Kraft even had a drop in this last game, who
never did.
A tough fumble.
I didn't expect him ever having a drop.
Got to help out Jordan.
Tucker Kraft is reaching Paul Bunyan status for me, where he is.
Ooh.
He's just everything he does. I just can't help but love, and everything he does in such a way that you can't imagine the guy to do. He has turned into one of my favorite players, not just on the Packers, but in the NFL. And I expect him to continue taking that jump. Oh yeah. His film is outstanding.
He's a football player, I think.
I definitely see that. Where do you think the ceiling is, John? Are you not ready to put a cap there? Because that position is just continuing to become more and more of a premium. You're talking about if he's one of the top 5 players at that spot, then he's one of the most valuable weapons in football at some point, potentially in his career.
I think he could get to that spot. I think he could get to one of the 5 best tight ends in the league. Right now, I think he has a set of skills that already puts him very easily in that spot. He doesn't get used quite enough in the pass game. They haven't really opened up his bag of tricks that he can offer in the pass game, although we did see a touchdown and a 2-point conversion this past week. He is a guy that all around what he can do with his hands, his feet, and his blocking, there aren't many tight ends that can do that.
No, and there's not a whole lot of guys that are at that level that are willing blockers and seemingly have as much fun dominating people in the run game like Tucker Kraft does. I love that. Our Quick Trip takeaways of the day brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Don't cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. Armin, you might even find and a bake sale. They got the bake sale going on. If you go into Quick Trip right now,
Yeah.
big old sales on the bakery. Whether that's Glazers,
Let's go.
Dunkers,
I love that.
cookies. They also got apple pie.
They do have the fruit pies. I noticed that.
They got the fruit pies.
You haven't had those pink lemonade dunkers
I have
yet.
not tried the pink lemonade dunkers.
So I don't know what
yet.
to tell you.
Still have not
At
tried
some
the pink
point, you're
lemonade
gonna have to
dunkers.
get it done. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just too stuck in the blueberry.
I get it. Maybe I'll have to bring them in. I'll bring them
Also, really underrated part of the bakery section, the muffins.
in. Oh, really? I haven't had their
Like
muffins.
$1.20
they got-
muffins.
They have a good muffin game.
Right, like a
Oh, okay.
solid muffin game.
I mean,
And
honestly,
when you think about it, you're like, oh, I could go for a muffin today.
it's one of those deals. You go in there, you wish you could grab everything, but I can't just eat everything. So I go with my standards,
Well,
My-
no, because you got a different set of bowels that we learned here today. That's why
Well,
you are not
not
going
having
to
9
have
donuts.
chili. You're
Yeah.
not going to have wings. You are going to go smash burger here
Yeah,
before
exactly.
the game to make sure that your stomach is full, but your belly's not rumbling in the middle of the 5th inning.
Yeah, because I can't leave during the game. I'm not one of these guys. You know what I'm saying? So I have to make sure I'm good to go.
Now, luckily, they do play Bob Euchre in the bathrooms. So if you do have an issue,
Cool.
you
cool.
can listen, hear Euchre,
Love listening to Bob. No doubt
get
about
up,
it.
get up, get out of here and gone. It should be all good in the neighborhood, okay?
Then I'll have to sit there and say, I missed it. I missed it.
You have fun with this tomorrow,
Let's
John,
get a
'cause
win. Let's get a win.
or lose.
Let's go.
This dude is going to be
Oh,
an
yeah.
incredible electric factory
Let's get a
tomorrow
win.
morning.
Yeah, he's going to be a hot mess.
Yeah. Hey, it's fine. Hey, and everyone, if you're going to the game, get ready to be in there and get ready to cheer.
Get in there, get loud early,
Let's
and
go.
don't ask Armin for a picture unless it's in the middle of the innings. Make sure he's got a
Boom.
Long Island, because then we know the Brewers are winning. For John Kuhn, Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmid. We'll be back tomorrow with a wide open Wednesday. Voice of the Green Bay Packers opens things up tomorrow at 9. Carry the G Radio with myself and Aaron Nagler is next. You got the game.